All right, what is up? It is Script-A-Palooza 2025. I'm not sure exactly how many we've done. I'll let Todd get the number right in a minute. He just out nine. Like literally next year will be 10 years of Script-A-Palooza. This was Todd's idea 9 years ago. We were kind of playing off of concerts. We feel like a lot of the people that showcase the Mortgage Coach YouTube channels are like mortgage rock stars. So let's have a gathering of rock stars. And one thing we know with the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, scripts win. Like whenever there's a script that people show up, people watch the video, they share the video, like scripts matter. And so this is Script-A-Palooza. We are going to get together. We're going to identify, we've already identified what we think are 5 of the most important conversations that mortgage professionals should be having right now. Today is the first day of Q4 2025. So we got to close the year strong. And we need to close the year strong in a way that we blast off 2026. So that's what today is all about. Now, one thing that's new this year that I have not had in past years is there's a new weapon of influence and value. It's called Uncommon LO. You could follow Uncommon LO on Instagram and TikTok. And the goal is the content's like 1 minute. Maybe at the most, it'll be 90 seconds. We will be taking some of the scripts and the content from today, posting those in Uncommon LO. And an Uncommon LO is really simple. It's someone who's winning in this market, and they're doing it in a way that's future-proof. So make sure you follow that. If you want us to make an edit, like you hear a script, and you're like, ooh, that's good. Post it in text. Like, give me the time, give me the who, give me the what, and we'll make some micro content out of that. So Todd, where do you want to go to kick this off, brother?
I can't believe this is year number 9, right? I remember that first year I had just launched Win by Noon, and my family was staying that summer in Portland, and I was hanging out with you and WeWork every day, and we did that first one standing side by side. So we had that awkward thing where we had to look at each other while we were on Zoom. And I'm just super proud of the content that we've put out, super grateful for everyone in the community who has participated, whether that's the folks who've been on here that have been doing the conversations, or whether that's those of you who've come in and watched it again and shared it with your friends. It's something that I just think is so important. And, Dave, you kind of nailed it, right? The question we get all the time when we're doing our Friday masterminds with Deborah, or when we're doing the Tuesday calls, is, everyone wants scripts. And so I think that we're so fortunate to have Phil Jones, author of Exactly What to Say, on here, because ultimately it's not necessarily about the scripts. It's knowing exactly what to say. It's knowing these magic words and phrases that if you get good at it, if you do the work before the work and you actually practice and have these conversations and understand how these words of influence, how these words that can help things like rejection-free openings, and these ways that Phil has sort of mastered these conversations that he can help us with. So we're super excited to have Phil in here. One of the things that Deborah invited me a few years back to go to New York to go to an Exactly What to Say certification with her and her sister. And right off the bat, she and I are like, we've got to dig in and we've got to do more with this. And we became certified guides. We've also got Ryan Kiefer on today, who's also a certified guide. And it's really been just a great journey to get to know Phil, understand his work. I always say there's a few things about Phil I think that are, maybe not well known. He's got the cool accent, he knows all the cool words, but he's really a brilliant business mind, right? The thing that I sat there in the certification with, and the time where I've got to be in the room with Phil, is just really hearing him talk about his approach to business, his approach to life. And so that's really the opportunity that we all have today, is not just to learn from those who are on the call, but to hear Phil's sharpening of their conversations, right? Phil said earlier, he's going to look for the gold and he's going to look for the better, right? So he's going to take what we already have great people on here that are going to have great conversations, and he's going to help us elevate those conversations. If you're not familiar with Exactly What to Say, the book, he sold about 3 million copies of that book, which is a huge number. I always encourage people to get the real estate agent edition. I encourage you to get the Audible. What's kind of unique is that he sold 3 million copies of the book, but it's actually the #1 listened to nonfiction Audible in the world. And the reason is you're all guilty of this, right? If you're like me, you've bought an Audible before and you've kind of started it and thought, that's not into it. So the average person listens to 0.3. They don't even get to a third of the way through the average Audible, where the average person who listens to Phil's Audible, at least last I heard, was almost 8 times the average person has listened to it. So it's just a great opportunity, a great honor. welcome Mr. Phil M. Jones.
Well, I found the mute button and now I managed to turn it off. So it's good. It's good to be here. And sessions like this are amazing. And I'll explain why to all of you that are here live in the moment, why this is such an amazing experience. Is because never, as in like ever, 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 do you show up with a conversation with a prospect, a client, an opportunity, where at the end of it, they say, well, if you just kind of said this a little different, then maybe I would have. You never get that like halftime analysis. You never get that post-game analysis that helps you understand. So what we get left with is just do this or just try harder. And it is a significant commitment from all of the guests that have shown up today to be able to not only present what it is that they do, but leave themselves open to be able to receive some analysis around it, some lessons from it, to see if what we can do is reverse engineer some of the why behind the what so that you can all be able to learn. So before we even share any of the key situations from our special guests here today, is do me a favor in the chat, just pass on some love, pass on your support. The fact that you get to be a bird's eye or a spectator in this conversation is a giant gift, because what you get is the gift of secondhand experience. Now, you know that experience helps you grow. You know that experience puts you into a situation that you get more competence and confidence. But there often isn't enough life to get all of the firsthand experience that you would need to get where you want to go. So when you can't get firsthand experience, the next best option is secondhand experience. And we've got 2 hours of some of the world's greatest experience that can be positioned back to you. So if you're not poised with one of these and instead you have a perfect memory, you're an idiot. If you are not fully present in this period of time and you don't have your head, your heart, your feet in the space where you're at, fix it. Please don't be distracted. There is going to be gold that is coming your way. And the one thing that will make this the biggest gift, the biggest present to you in your world is your presence. So bring some commitment that if you want this to be a gift or a present, bring your presence. Be here fully, be here committed. And one other invitation is there's 474 people here live right now that are already better than most. And the reason I know that is you're here. If you weren't better than most, you'd be out there winging it, trying to figure it out, looking for the easy button. You wouldn't be showing up to a high caliber program of this nature. But for the next couple of hours or so, do me a favor and relish rookie mode. Give yourself the gift of what you don't know, not your I know best mentality, and see if what you can do is receive some alternative insights that allow you to be able to recreate what you might do next. And I know that you're all going to be looking to judge. I mean, we're all judging right now. We're like, how did Deborah choose that shirt and everybody else chose to wear black or monochrome? Like, we're judging like crazy. We do that. That's what we do as people. But don't judge the performers that are sharing their insights today. Instead, learn. Even if there's something you do where you're like, I don't like that, then decide to not be that. Don't tell them they're wrong. Just make a choice for you and for your life. So are we ready to rock and roll? Dave, is there more we need to do before we bring up our first guest?
We are always ready to rock and roll. So I will do the introduction for this next guest. And then Todd, when we start doing the debrief, why don't you be the first one to debrief on what Jeremy said? So for anyone who, remember, this is the 9th time that we've done this. And you'll notice there's some new faces on Script-A-Palooza. Like, it's not the same rock stars. And by the way, every person we've ever had on this event has killed it. We see that Shayla Gifford is in the house. But we had a lot of people say, hey, let's shine a light on more new people. Let's create new rock stars. Now, there is one familiar face, that is Jeremy Forcier. And I think everybody that knows Jeremy knows that he is the king of scripts. Also, there's no one who has said yes to me more times when I'm like, hey, the market's changed. How are you winning? Jeremy says yes, like, yeah, let's get on it. So one, we're going to kick it off with Jeremy Forcier. He is a perennial $100 million producer, who's also a leader and a manager, who's also been a coach and mentored hundreds of loan officers over more than a decade. So Jeremy Forcier, you are up to bat, my brother. I'm going to jump off camera and let you and Phil kind of go back and forth. If I do jump on, I've got something to say. But guys, let's use those reactions at the bottom. If we had a live event right now, I would make everybody stand up and give a standing ovation for Jeremy Forcier. Let's go.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks for having me as always. And what I'm most excited about is that I get the opportunity to learn from everyone who's going to share, and especially learn from Phil. Like, I just am a huge fan of yours, Phil. As you know, collaborated with you a couple different times, and please, like, just make me better, make us better. I am more curious than ever in my life and career, and I love that. And that curiosity has led to a lot of really cool breakthroughs from an influence standpoint, et cetera. So thanks for being here. So what am I talking about? What I'm going to focus on specifically with you guys today is like how to interact with your database and past clients for rate and term refinances. And please note that what I'm going to share with you is ways to engage past customers or your database that you already have. You can also use this if you're newer to the industry, maybe the last few years, and you're like, man, I don't have like a giant database. This works with people that aren't in your database too. Okay, so it will work with both, but for the context, this is just how do we engage and how do we generate some rate and term refinances in this environment right now. So here's the first script I will go over, okay? And the first script, ironically, is not a script that you do on the phone. This is a setup script. So if you do specifically have a database or people that you know you can help in refi, this is a email script that can set up these conversations to give you context, right? And I will provide this to everyone, just so you know. This is a document that I've created, and I will provide it to Dave Savage and the crew, and then you guys can just literally copy and paste it and use it. So I'm just going to read this one, and then we'll go into the actual scripting of the conversation. So this is the email that I sent out to a number of people that it looked like I've identified that I could help save money. And it goes like this. If I promise, hi, client's name, I promised you I would let you know when it's the right time to refinance. Well, that time is now. After reviewing your numbers, I'm confident we can save you big money with little to no cost. Here's the best part. I can pull your file from your previous loan, so you won't need to fill out any new paperwork. I'll prepare a custom presentation with a couple of refinance options tailored just for you. All you need to do is reply to this email. I'll handle the rest. There's no pressure, no commitment, just an opportunity to review your options and see how much you can save. Would you like me to get started on preparing your refinance options? So that is an email script that I had created and sent out to a number of people. Now, let's talk about what happens when people will engage, just so you know. So I only sent this out to 35 people, past customers. I do think it's a mistake not to get into processes to send it out to like 1,000 at the same time. So this was a sniper email on what I thought the easiest and best opportunities for people I really could serve. Okay, and that is critical to know, that you should reach out to people that you know you can actually serve, so you're not full of shit, okay, when you're just sending out something. So this is what it sounds like when people do respond. So I had 27 responses out of the 35 emails of yes, let's either set up a call or go ahead and set up the file, right? And this is what the actual script sounds like when I'm talking to someone on the phone. So I'm going to use Graham as an example. He's one of my clients. So he responded to the email. He said, hey, you know what? I would love to set up a quick call, maybe just to review my situation, and then we can get started. So when we were talking, the first thing I said was, Graham, I know you want to look at your total situation. I definitely want all that information to see what's changed in your life. But if I could show you how to save money right now at little to no cost, and then also show you how you can do it again if things get better, would you be open to that? And he literally melted like butter, you guys. Okay, right? So if I could show you, right, how to save money right now at little to no cost, and then also show you how to do it again if things were to improve, would you be open to that? I haven't had anyone say no when I use it in that cadence, the way that I say it, because when you really think about it, what pressure is there? If I could show you how to do this, would you be open to this, right? With no commitment. And I think that's really the important part, is rather than slamming things down people's throats, okay, of like, you need to do this now, because this is what our competition does, just so you guys know. I know this because I'm talking to my clients. Servicers are calling them more than ever. They're getting hammered by people, direct companies trying to refinance them. And they're saying, hey, we have this offer for you, but you got to commit today. You got to put a $500 deposit down today. They're using fear. So I'm using the opposite of fear, right, in order to get people interested. But that is the first script, okay, that I have for the past clients and database. And I'll stop there, Phil, if you want me to, unless you want me to keep going.
Jeremy, I've already read a page of notes, just on the text intro and the setup, and there's so many things that I love about where this is coming from. Is what you're doing is you're putting a confident foot into an existing relationship, and I think that's what's really important here. Is this isn't a let me take anybody and everybody and show up and throw up that says here's something I can do for you. Is I'd also say that this is a wonderful text script. I also say this is a wonderful DM script, and it might need to be slightly shortened or polished accordingly. And what we are seeing is diminishing returns on email. And I think email is something that every single serious relationship building business should give really important attention to over the coming weeks and months. Because if you are not putting something in somebody's email inbox that is valuable, that is personable, that is human, you are eroding inbox equity. Therefore, you're becoming less relevant. And that's a fast path to irrelevant. What you're doing is you're hitting the emotional show me that you know me button. You are there a period of time that's long enough after your last transaction, and you have an inherent trust in that relationship. Other things that are in here that I think are wonderful is it's just a simple call to action. It's a reply CTA. It's not click this button, come over here. It's not let's arrange a call. You're simply saying reply. What you could do though is you could tell them how to reply. So even if you said, reply with a good time of the week next week for us to be able to start the conversation, what we're doing is we're giving someone the ingredients for how they're going to bake the cake.
Okay.
And just removing a tiny piece of friction. Other parts that I love, give me the opening again.
Of the text script?
Of the email script that you shared.
Here, it's right here. Oh yeah, it's what I've already told them. I'm reinforcing. So I promised I would let you know when the time was right to refinance. Well, that time is now.
Right. Look at the power of the word promise. Right? Is that you promised that you would. You're using that for your permission to restart the conversation. What you're saying is that you're a professional of your word, and all you're doing is what you said you were going to do. That
Right.
From the opening of this communication, you're saying, I don't talk shit. What you're saying is, I follow through on my promises, and here I am again. Therefore, everything else that follows that promise, I can believe with the same degree of truth. So much power in that.
Awesome.
Some tweaks, if you're up for it.
Please, I'm writing, yes.
Watch how a swap of the word just to the word simply can make a big difference. I think you said here is that I just wanted to, or that it will just take, or like you were simplifying what it is that you were looking for. But if it's, it simply needs you to reply to this, not just. Just is an abbreviation to the word justify that rarely should be used. We all overuse the word just. It's lazy language. I think you could be simply or quickly or easily or effortlessly. You could find 15 synonyms for the word just and it would have more power. And at the end, you closed out the message with would you like? Swap it for would it help?
Get rid of would you like and just direct.
Either go direct or like is subjective.
Yeah.
Help is guaranteed. Would it help if you had those numbers so you can make a decision as to whether this is right for you? Well, yeah, it would help. Like there's a guarantee. Would I like? Well, would I like it?
Right.
I don't know whether I'd like it. But would it help? Yeah, it would help. So I'm obnoxious on details. And for those of you that are familiar with my work for the first time, this is what I do. Like I engineer language. And what I love about how Jeremy's just sat there with his notes, even with his performance, is that might turn 35 that you get 27 replies to 35 that you get 29.
Right. Yeah, that's a
And
huge difference. That's a huge difference. And I mean, and I want everyone to take this away too, is we're talking about inches that make inches like that make a big difference. So you might hear him say 29 instead of 27, and you're like, okay, whatever, that's two. That's $10,000. An inch. Okay. That's an inch. That's a big movement. What made me laugh so much, Phil, and I had to laugh at myself when you gave me the first critique, the word just. Here's what's hilarious. I preach that. I literally coach on it to remove just, and I didn't catch it in text form. So I'd learned something that I'm great at connecting with it when I'm verbally speaking to someone. I made my own mistake of what I teach in text, that it should mimic, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I wrote down was, hey, when you're doing email, it's just like you're talking. And right, like simply use the same principles in the email is what I wrote down. Use the same principles in email as when you're teaching scripting from an influence standpoint, to remove words that put you in a submissive position.
Yay. And our goal is to be easy to reply to. Sometimes we ask easy to ask questions that are hard to reply to.
Right.
Easy to reply to questions sometimes are hard to ask, hard to craft,
Right.
harder
Okay.
to be able to polish.
Interesting. That's fascinating. Excellent.
But you get into a conversation, and then what? So I mean, this is amazing, right? Is you can use this with past clients. You can use this with people that almost could have perhaps nearly done business with you.
Right.
You can use it even with friends and family that you know that own houses.
Right. Yep. 100%. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you. That is excellent, excellent, excellent feedback. And I'm going to tweak my scripts now. And I just get so excited about anything where I can have any more influence, quite frankly. I love.
Free money.
So
Yep.
guys, are you seeing the power? I mean, talk about, first of all, Jeremy has a brilliant script. It's working in the market and it can be better. Also want to make note of, like, we're in a market now where you can do a lot of refis and double down on winning with realtors and winning purchases. So we're, our next speaker guest is going to talk about getting meetings with realtors, because we are in a season where we can crush it, guys. I mean, it's been going on 3 years of winter in the mortgage space, and we want to turn this into a very pivotal event for you guys to crush it. Some of the people asked for the links, the scripts. This will be posted in YouTube, Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed to that channel, subscribe. There'll be a link in there brought to us by housing.link. Thank you, Scott Nicholson. And all the links and all the things that we share throughout this call, they'll be in those links. But I also want to make sure that people know how important it is to have a great script and then to deliver something amazing. Later on, I'm going to do a little commercial for Mortgage Coach. But I would just tell you, there's never been a better time to have Mortgage Coach, so that when you can present the options that Jeremy talked about, and we even have an app that will tell you who to call, exactly who to call and when to call them. So that was killer. Todd, anything you want to call out or share here?
Well, I mean, I want to point out, right? You all love Jeremy, and Jeremy didn't wing it, right? Phil said that before. I think that's the risk that most of you who are great in this business, or most of us, I'll include myself in there, we're pretty darn good and we wing it a lot. Jeremy's got these things written down. He's showing up ready to do the work. And then he's talking about how he's sharing with those others. And so I think it's really important just to remember that, I said it in the opening, it's the work before the work that you've got to do. And then, Phil talks oftentimes about the simple swaps. And so just the fact when he talked about swapping out just for, a handful of other words, and just think how powerful that can be. And so I know, Jeremy, you've got some other exciting news you wanted to announce. What tell us what else is going on in your world.
Oh, yeah. So, it's interesting, as I've been coached, for ever when I really think about it. But I've been professionally coached for a really long time, the last 15 plus years. And I know that for sure it's had the biggest impact, like, on my life, on my success, going from negative $500,000 in debt to $10 million in cash net worth over that 14-year time frame. And having a really rich life was all about coaching. And I've come to a place right now, like in my life and in my career, where my fulfillment is really coming from sharing my formula that I know works for sure for other people that they can use and execute as well. And that's where I'm focused on, moving forward. So I'm really pumped up to, announce and launch that I'll be starting a really small, curated, 100-person mastermind community where everyone can collaborate, because it's all about coaching, collaboration, right? And consulting yourself as well as with your peers to create something great. And I'm going to just have a really small 100-person mastermind group that we're going to be setting up And if anyone's interested in it, we can definitely send you a simple link like to see what your interest level is and learn about it, as well as like what the most excited I am with is like an elite 20-person program where we are going to go really deep in immersive and experiential learning together, which includes 3 different events that we'll be doing privately, just 20 people together throughout the year, and going really, really deep and blowing up your business, your life, your wealth. It's not going to focus just on business specifically. And it is something that I've been dreaming about for 10 plus years, like to do, and to be in a place now where I feel that I can actually share that part of myself with others and teach others how they can find those PowerPoints in themselves to rise up as well, like through adversity, through the successes, through everything, and create something really special. So it's not for everyone, you guys, like for real. It's going to be small. It's not going to be a mass, like crazy big thing. It's just going to be something that I can really pour all of my time, my energy, my lessons, because I have failed more than most people for sure, and how to come back from that to create something that's really, really special. So if anyone's interested in it, Todd, Dave, Phil, like I'm happy to, share a really simple link where you could just say, hey, I'm interested in learning more, set up like a quick discovery call. You can learn about it and we can figure out if it's a good fit.
All right, guys. Well, first of all, congratulations, Jeremy. It's
Thanks,
exciting
man.
back
Yeah.
as a coach and helping mentor people. Super grateful. And people don't know this. There's over 100. Like no one I've interviewed more than Jeremy. So the amount he's given back to this industry is unparalleled. And I hope you fill that group up, brother. So
Thanks, man.
congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Someone share a link. If you're watching this in YouTube, remember every link that we talk about, it's going to be in that one master link. So Todd or someone, by the way, I don't know how many people, but a bunch of people have said they want the link. So Todd or someone, make sure we get that link shared in there. And congratulations, brother.
Thanks, Dan. I really appreciate it. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I'm fired up. Like
Yeah.
I'm ready to do something
Uh,
really different. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's awesome. So our next speaker has really got some shoes to fill. And then Paul, you said, or not Paul, but Phil, you delivered some incredible gold to everyone. So let's see if you can just keep the momentum on that.
Oh, I'm just warming up.
All right, let's go. Todd, you want to do
Well,
that?
Well, let me no, let me make sure I properly set up Allison. One of the things that you said at the beginning, Dave, is we've got Jeremy, who's been on here more than anybody, and then we've got some new stars, and I can't be more excited than having Allison Larson on here. I've watched Allison grow. She's part of the Shayla Gifford train at Guild Mortgage. She's a coach herself, and she's just been doing an amazing job of sharing her wisdom out there. She was made a special guest appearance at Modern Mortgage Summit this year for us. And I'll let you take it away, Allison.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Before I could afford to hire a coach, I watched I still do, watch every Script-A-Palooza, watch every Modern Mortgage Summit. I mean, the fact that we get these free resources for us to learn and grow from, and I just write down everything Jeremy had to say and everything Shayla had to say and try and make it my own. So thank you guys for having me. This is really exciting. Phil, I'll go through my whole thing if it's cool with you, and then I can't wait for you to pick it apart and fix it for me. Sound good?
Okay. Or just be able to shine the light on some of the stuff that's magic. Could be that too.
There could be some fixing. We'll see.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
So when I asked around on social media and through my guild family, what should I talk about? The number one thing I heard was that people struggle with realtors. How the heck do I set the appointment? And then largely, what on earth do I say to these people who I met 3 years ago who send me one deal a year and I don't have anything else to call them with? So that is exactly what I'm going to go through today. I really struggled with this for a long time. I was allergic to wanting to be a salesperson because I wanted to be authentic. I'm a millennial and I just want to be a free spirit and I want everybody to like me. So taboo. And unfortunately, in this industry, if you're not going to be a salesperson, you have to go get a different job because you won't make any money and you're 100% commission. Pop in the chat if you've ever been sitting across someone from a coffee meeting and you're thinking, I need to close this person or I need to ask for business. And I feel so gross and weird about this and I don't want to do it. Because that was me. I'd run around all around town, hey girl selling, meeting all of these realtors. And all of them liked me and they knew my name, they had my cell number, but none of them sent me business. And because I was so afraid of being inauthentic. And then I realized It's incredibly inauthentic to show up to a business meeting and not have a business conversation and just ask for business. I have friends. I'm actually not trying to make new best friends. What I really had to do is take some of the scripts I had heard from a Jeremy or something else and just make them my own and make them more authentic to me. So when I started going through, okay, how do I book these realtor appointments? I will never tell anyone something that I'm not 100% doing on a daily basis. And what I realized, I don't know if I have any amazing scripts for booking realtor appointments. What I honestly do to book realtor appointments is I use social media. Instagram is my chosen platform. And if I see someone on Instagram that I look like I like their business or whatever, I'll just DM them and I'll ask them a question about their business, about their kids. I see your kids are in a school uniform. I think they go to the school down the street from my kids, right? Anything basic like that. And then as the conversation is going, if I mean it, I'll say, gosh, it's really impressive what you've built with your business. Would you be open to grabbing coffee with me? Any chance you're free next Tuesday at noon? Or I'll say something like, gosh, I really enjoy chatting with you. Any chance you want to grab a cup of coffee and meet next Tuesday at 9 a.m. at the coffee shop down the street? As I was prepping for this morning, and this is even a worse example than what I'm saying right now, I literally sent someone a DM. I'm going to read it to you because it worked. This girl, realtor, was tagged in another realtor's Instagram that I know. And I followed her, and 2 minutes later, she followed me back. And at 5:02 this morning, I messaged her and I said, Jen Briggs, of course, in parentheses, was raving about you last I chatted with her. And then I was watching your guys' video, and then I started IG stalking you, LOL. I'd love to grab coffee and meet in real life. How does your next few weeks look? And she responded, hey girl, we can definitely get something on the books. I'm pretty flexible most Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you look out a week, that's super easy for me. Let me know what works for you. Appointment booked. In coaching loan officers and leading my loan officers, I've also realized at the coffee meeting, we can go sit at a coffee meeting and we can have every intention in our body to be to close the coffee meeting. And we're sitting across from someone. And for some reason, the words just don't come out of our mouth. We get in our head, we get in our feelings, we get in our heart. We don't want to give someone the ick, and we just don't do it. And so with like anything in this business, if we create systems that just keep us on track, we will do them because we have a system for it. So instead of closing at this first coffee meeting when I just met someone off the internet, off Instagram DMs with one message like that, which is kind of actually pretty aggressive, to just close them on that meeting, I'll actually just ask them in the meeting at the very end. I'll say, gosh, this was really great meeting you. Would you be open to hopping on a Zoom with me next week, 15, 20 minutes tops? I'd love to just show you what your client would experience if they connected with me, or if you found someone that'd be the right fit for me to connect with. I looked back, I have met 36 realtors since I started doing this, and 100% of them have said yes. So it seems to be working. I get on that 15 to 20 minute Zoom. I just show them my MortgageCoach or whatever systems I'm showing with my pre-approval meetings. And then at the end of it, I ask, would you be open to me sending you an email template that a lot of my realtors use to refer me? I think the hardest thing for realtors is to create a new habit. What are they in their heads thinking? Oh my gosh, what am I going to email this client who I want to send to Allison? Hey, I just met this girl off of Instagram last week, Tuesday. She seems cool. You want her to take a stab at your mortgage? Probably not, right? Like if we just tee them up and make it easy for them, it works way better. Yes, the people saying the email template is key. It is a game changer. I've had realtors who say, oh, I've only worked with the same lender for 20 years. And then I send them an email template and an hour later they use it and refer me to a client. It's crazy. But this is where I think people get really stuck. Allison, this all sounds great, but I already met these realtors and I should have closed them and I didn't. And I didn't do a Zoom and I didn't do any of those things. What can I just call and say today that would generate some more business? My trusty sidekick, Todd, I asked him if he'd stay on and role play with me. Todd, you ready?
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Okay, so what I think doesn't work with scripts is someone hears my script and they're not me personally, so they can't repeat it exactly like I did. So all of these scripts, I'm going to give you a basic outline. I want you to write down the basic outline, listen to how I said it, think of how you would say it different, and then we'll have Phil go through and put a cherry on top for us. Cool? So these are 3 simple scripts. First one is value, audit, ask. All right, Todd, ready? Ring, ring.
Let's go.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Oh, hey, Todd, Allison
Hello.
Larson calling. Hey, Todd, Allison Larson calling.
Well, how are you?
I'm doing well. Say, I just saw on Instagram this morning. Did you post that you just had your best month ever?
I did, thank you.
That's amazing. What do you attribute it to?
Oh, I've just been really keeping in touch with my database, but now I'm struggling to get new business in the door.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm going to this event next week with Phil Jones. It's called Exactly What to Say. And he's literally going to teach us exactly what to say in different sales capacities. Do you want to go with me?
Oh, I'd love to check it out. Thanks for thinking of me.
Yeah. And I know this is our first year really working together. I'm curious. I know the mortgage process isn't always perfect, but as we're working together, is there anything my team and I could have done better, improved on? Any feedback you have at all?
No, not that I can think of. You guys are great.
Oh, well, we think you're the best too. We've seriously loved working together. I'd actually love to get one more deal together this year done. Do you have anyone who's out looking that I could chat with?
Oh, I'll have to think about that.
Okay, well, cool. Let me know. I'm always here. Okay, Todd, did I give you the ick? Did it feel weird
No,
that I
that was
asked for a
good.
client?
That was good.
Okay.
And I didn't go rogue. See, I promised I wouldn't be like Shayla and go rogue on your role play.
At the Modern Mortgage Summit, Shayla and I were doing a role play situation, and 3 seconds before stage, I said, "Just say this," and we got up there. She didn't say that. Okay, the
You
next
mean how
one.
it goes in the real world? You mean how it
Yeah,
goes in
yeah.
the real world?
Which is fine in the real world, but also it was like a completely rogue, like it was going to change the conversation a different direction, and we only had a couple minutes.
Gotcha.
Okay, the transfer of trust is the next one. This is a great one to do any time of the year. Literally every single time you get a client for someone, this is a really easy one to do. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Todd is a slow phone carrier. Hey, Todd, I just talked with Peggy Sue. Thank you so much for sending her our way. We were just on Zoom together. We were literally raving about you and how lucky she is to work with you. And I got off the Zoom and I just realized, have I ever told you what I say about you when you send clients my way?
I don't think so.
um, Sorry. Well, so I think you should know when I talk to them, for example, Peggy Sue, she said she met you at an open house. I say, oh my gosh, you met Todd Bookspan at an open house. You literally hit the realtor lottery. Todd is one of the kindest, hardest working people I know. He's also one of the toughest negotiators. Here's my favorite thing about Todd though. He doesn't need to sell you a house. He's very established in this business. If he says write an offer on a house, you have to go over asking, it's because he wants to help you win. If he says, do not write an offer on this house, it is not worth it. I don't want to see you guys in this. He means it and he will shoot you straight. Is that good? Is there anything else you want me to say?
Gosh, Allison, I just kind of give them a sheet with the 3 names and tell them to shop for the best rate. I feel like clients always
back
want
up. Back up. Is that good? Is there anything else you want me to say? And also, what do you say when you refer me, Todd?
Oh, yeah. Gosh, Allison, I just kind of give them a sheet with 3 names and tell them to shop for the best rate. I feel like clients always want a lot of options.
That's great. We hear a lot of realtors say they just give a sheet with a few names and tell clients to go shop around. Are you open to changing that language a little bit? What I'm finding is a lot of times clients are coming to us and they feel like they're on the defense already because they feel like they have to go to battle with the loan officer and negotiate with us out the gate. When really we're just trying to help show them different options and give them the information to pick what's best for them with all of the resources and the knowledge, which would probably help your process taking them through the home buying journey as well. Are you open to tweaking that a little bit? And
Absolutely.
yeah, perfect. And then I would also offer, do you want me to just type that up for you and send it over so that you can just reuse it for clients? Because oftentimes if we just tell something like that to a realtor on the fly, just like listening to the Script-A-Palooza, you'll be like, gosh, that one time someone said something really smart, but I can't remember what it was, right? And then this is the last one, gratitude, give, take. You guys, today is October 1st. We are in the last quarter of the year. We get a 90-day sprint. You could hang up today and make these phone calls to every single person who referred you this year and probably pick up 5 to 10 more deals before the end of the year. Goes like this. Ring, ring. Hey, Todd.
Hello, Allison.
Hey, Todd, I just wanted to give you a ring. I know we closed 5 transactions together. You referred us 8 leads total. And I don't call you enough and just say thank you. I appreciate it. I can call you at 6 o'clock at dinner time. And if there's a kid screaming in the background, you're not offended by it. We can have open, candid communication. But mostly, I feel like we're truly partners in this business together. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. As you're out, this year, as you're going into Q4, I can't believe it's already October 1st. Is there anything that you're focused on that I can rally around and really help you on?
You know, I feel like I always struggle to make a business plan and need help scaling. Could you help me brainstorm on that?
Oh my gosh, yes, let's do it. Let's plan a fun lunch. I'll ping you some times after we get off the phone and we can get something scheduled. Also, while I have you, I'd love to have more referral partners like you, where I just feel like they're a true partner in the business. Is there any names that come to mind of people you really enjoy in your office or other real estate buddies that you really can confide in?
Well, have you met Jeremy Forcier yet?
You know what? I haven't. I've heard he is kind of the GOAT of the industry. Could I use your name when I call him?
Absolutely.
Awesome. And did that give you the ick?
Nope, didn't give me
No?
the ick. How about the rest of you?
Bill, what would you help me put a cherry on?
This much stuff. I got 3 pages and 8s, and no ick, no ick. You're awesome. You're personable, and there's a great lesson here in the way that you're showing up in these conversations. Is you're asking kindly, you're asking with confidence, you're asking with a level of forward momentum, and I would say that one of the greatest gifts that you have, that I'm sure many other people listening here, is you can do this imperfectly with care, charisma, heart, genuine interest in other people, and the mechanics of having the right words still get the right results. And you're like, it's exceptional. And I say that to give everybody just some freedom that says, ask nicely, ask kindly, ask politely, wear a smile on your face, keep asking for the things that you want, and it delivers. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be pure. And that's what you showed up with in abundance in all of those examples, Allison. So I think it's fantastic. There are some other parts that I really, really want to pull out of all of the examples that you gave that I feel have immense value. One is this try before you buy approach. And if you were ever looking to, in fact, let me give a different analogy. Ever found yourself like walking through a retail environment, and say it's like a cobbled street in London, say, for example, and you had no idea in your mind that you wanted to have ice cream at that moment in time, or you wanted to have fudge from a fudge shop. But what there is there's somebody outside a fudge shop with a little silver platter with all these little cocktail sticks with little samples in that says, how do you fancy a taste? And you're like, well, I didn't know I needed that in my life right now, but sure, I'll try it. And then they back up into the store, and before you know it, you bought 4 pounds of fudge. Like, this is your business development strategy here, right? It's like, how do I just give people a little taste, tease, and then carry them into your world? And that's what all of these examples delivered. There are a few big lessons that I think that we can shine a light on for everybody. And one is what this outreach looks like. Like you mentioned so importantly that today's business development isn't always picking up the phone and calling to strangers. The DMs, text messages, commenting on socials, like that's not the anomaly or the exception. I actually think it's more the norm. And if you're looking to be able to interact with realtors, is they are glued to this thing. They are forever in their scroll. Meet them where they're at, as opposed to meet them where they're not. And this meet them where they're at mindset, I believe, also shows into how do you communicate, but it also means to what you ask for. Asking to meet people for coffee in 2025 is lazy. You know enough about somebody that you can swap the word coffee for a smoothie, a workout class, a old-fashioned, a cup of matcha. Like, I bet that if you take all the times that you ask for coffee, if you made the invitation something that was more appropriate for the person you're looking to meet with, your conversion would go up because you'd hit the show me that you know me button.
I don't even drink coffee. Yeah, that would be
We're asking for coffee all the time. We're asking to meet in
Yeah.
bars for people that have got a drinking problem. We're asking to meet people at a time of day that is the same time of day they want to be having dinner with their kids. But we have enough tool for intelligence right now that we could simply tweak the ask away from coffee to something that we've learned is truly valuable to that person on a time of day that is valuable. Like if somebody wants to get time on my schedule that is unannounced, meet me for a walk between 7 and 8 a.m. and I'm wide open. Try to get on my schedule in an evening. Good luck with that. Like it's not happening. So I think we can use our intelligence in our ask. Then when you get to the ask, there are some magic things that anybody can ask for that will open any door. And one of them is like if you show up with a genuine compliment. That was one example of what Alison gave, right? She gave a compliment. You could also show up with recognition. That was another example that Alison gave. She recognized that somebody had done something in their marketplace. Or it can be a genuine compliment. These three keys will open any door anytime, as long as they are all laced in sincerity. So when you're thinking about like, how do you start the conversation? You're looking for sincere and genuine compliments, sincere, genuine recognition. Sorry, scrap that one. What I'm really looking for is opinion. My bad. Is you're looking to be able to say, what is something you can ask for somebody's opinion on? Those three things will win you attention. Compliment, recognition, opinion. There's more here too, that when you get to a point of feedback, you're calling your past clients and you're saying, is there anything I could have done better? You're calling realtors and you're saying, is there anything I could have done better? Nobody wants to answer that question.
That's why it works good.
Watch what happens if you play it this way. What three things did you like best about working with us? Oh, and if there was one thing you could change, what would that be? What that stack does is when you ask somebody what three things do they like best about working with you, you actually find out what they value best about working with any loan originator. You find out their high value currencies. Alison, where do you live in the world?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
What three things do you like best about Minneapolis?
Family is here.
Mm-hmm.
It is a good place to raise a family. And it is a very livable city and suburbs. You can be downtown from anywhere in 20 minutes.
Okay. And if there was one thing you could change about it, what would the one thing be?
The winter.
Look how much truth I got from you very quickly. I now understand a huge deal about your value set. I understand a huge deal about any triggers or anything that I might be able to work against. And when I ask somebody what three things they like best, typically what you get is the first thing they think of, feel like my family's here. The most important thing, oh, it's a great place to raise a family. Oh, and then your favorite nice to have. Oh, it's like walkable. I can get downtown. I can live a fairly abundant life with a huge amount of variety to it without me having to change state or change city. And if there was one thing you could change, what would the one thing be? You're like, winters suck, right? You hit it straight between the eyes. But do you see how like you could work with a realtor and do that exact same thing? What three things you like best about working with us? Or same with competition. They're like, I'm super happy with our existing like realtor. You're like, great. What three things you like best about working with Steve? Oh, it's this, it's this, it's this. Oh, if there was one thing you could change, what would that one thing be? You just found your angle.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hope you do those three things well. Oh, and that one thing, you then go, well, when was the last time you experienced a puzzle with that? They're like, oh, that was last week. Oh, and how often does that occur? They're like, yeah, a little too often. And for how long has that been a problem? They're like, oh, more than a minute. You're like, you've got it. They're pretty good, but they've been letting you down here like most weeks, most months for a period of 3 years. Whew. There's an in to be able to work to. And Dave, just give me a couple more minutes here because I think there's so much for everybody. And if you didn't catch Alison saying, how does your next few weeks look for trying to get time on somebody's schedule versus are you free on Tuesday at 4 p.m.? That was like, pow, magic. Why? Because try to say no to how does your next few weeks look. How does next Tuesday at 4 look? Easy to say no to, and you're forever in the cat and mouse chase. How does your next? Yeah, we got some time. We can find something. I'm going to give some really other quick just refinements. When you're asking for their next piece of business, be specific. Who's somebody you're working with right now that's causing you like a little frustration or a challenge or a puzzle? Like
A
a
realtor.
yeah, but a realtor's more likely to give you a difficult case than their easy
Ah,
lady.
mhm. Like, hey, you have have you had any low appraisal issues lately? Do you know you
yeah.
can switch lenders and we could just order a fresh appraisal?
Or when was the last time that you had? How often do you have? Not do you have any? See, when was the last time or how often they give you current? Do you have any? No, not right now. Oh shit. Dead end, cul-de-sac. How often or who or when was the last time you're in a different spot? And why are people like confused about this lending process right now? Why are people in turmoil? If I ask a why question, I get a who answer. And then if you want to be really cheeky and really bold with an ask, just ask, what are the chances? Like, what are the chances you'd give me a shot at your next client? What are the chances that maybe next time something comes under appraisal that you tag me in to see if I can show you how we can help? What are the chances that we might be able to do some decent business together before year end? You see how soft but direct that ask is at the exact same time? And when you're asking for referrals for other realtors that can partner, I want you all to remember something as loan originators here. You, my friends, are a badass. And what you have is past clients. The realtor LO referral relationship should switch at some point in the next 18 to 24 months. Because you will be finding, and like Trust Engine and all these tools, you're going to be finding triggers in your existing client base that they are thinking about making a move. And you're going to be in that conversation ahead of a realtor. I think that becomes our Trojan horse into realtor scenarios, is that the way the technology is changing with all our past clients, we're learning when people are thinking about making a move before they are engaging with any realtors, before they are viewing any properties, before they're going to open houses. And I've got this puzzle right now of when I bump into a past client that is thinking about making a move, is I'm not sure who I should be referring them to. So like if I was to refer them to you, what would I be saying about it? And you've got all this like bait, and you watch now realtors be singing for your supper, particularly if you're a top producer in the LO space with a ton of past clients. They're like, dang, Allison's got a book of business and she going to get to them before I get to them. What do I have to do to win her attention right now? Maybe I should throw her a bone here and there. So use the referral relationship with posture, not please give me a chance. It's like, I got the gift. I got the gold. Why should I give it to you?
That's really good.
Well, I am so glad you put me on the sideline, coach. And I don't know if you saw all the gold and all the feedback you got from some of those things. So I'm trying to keep us a little on clock, but don't hesitate to put me on the sideline. Anything else you want to say before I get ready to tee up the next speaker?
Two things. One is, Allison, you're amazing. And I think we should all get that confidence from seeing somebody just be personable, being professional, being kind and considered. Two, also know that there is so much more that we can all do. And that should feel like opportunity. That should feel like actually there is going to be a delineating line in this industry where what you're going to have is professionals and then licensed people. And the licensed people are going to realize that they might need to use like their driving license to go drive Uber, not their mortgage license to be able to write loans, right? They're going to need a different license to get paid because the pros are going to rise up. And what I love about environments like this, and both Jeremy's humbleness and Allison's humbleness, is these are professionals that have come to practice. Professionals practice. I repeat, professionals practice. Professionals practice. And what does practice look like? It looks like practice, which is what Alison was doing here. She was practicing. Doesn't look like game day. But what do amateurs do? They practice on their prospects. Do not practice on your prospects if you want pro results. Practice looks like practice. That's what we're here to be able to do. And I hope what you're all loving on here now is that the people that are showing themselves up in this environment are doing it not for themselves, they're doing it for you, which is a massive, massive, massive gift. So Alison, thank you. Jeremy, thank you so far. Dave, thanks for giving me this arena. And if anyone's wondering how I reverse engineer this so quickly, this has been my life's work for over 25 years, worked in over 800 different industries, is I rewrite verbiage for fun. I could do this hopping one arm behind my back. Why? Because I've been practicing for a long time.
This was amazing. Thank you. I took 3 pages of notes, so I appreciate it.
Well, don't leave the stage until I bring on the next guest, Allison. And I do want everyone to use the reactions. What did you think of that session? I think it'd be a standing ovation. I had the honor of meeting you in person at Shayla's recent Slay with Shay event. And I talked about my code, the Savage code. And one of those codes is be a sun person, be the sun. And Allison epitomizes that. Like her energy, her confidence. Yeah, she has an amazing smile, but there's energy and confidence. And by the way, that comes from everything you just heard. She's a pro. She practices. My 2 favorite things from that were one, when you said, oh, I show I'm a mortgage coach. So I love, that you are helping realtors make better decisions. And then my favorite advice was where you said, hey, coffee's great. By the way, I love coffee, but you know what I love more than that? Walking and talking. And so I thought that was a big one, guys. Make sure that you are showing people you know them, and show them you know them by how you ask them to meet. And there should be a whole lot more walk and talk meetings happening in this space. So that was amazing. So guys, for this next guest, it will be I've interviewed Justin before. It's in the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. He's amazing. I not only invited him to be on Script-A-Palooza, he is going to be part of my session at Sales Mastery, which is just 2 weeks away in Dallas, Texas. We'll put a link, Don and Gino and Todd Duncan, who are putting that on. They're actually doing a buy one, get another one free. So we're trying to fill that up. But I asked him to be on this event and to be part of that Sales Mastery event because he's winning. He is doing better this year than last year. I also asked him because he's had to overcome adversity. Like he's had some difficult times, just like the majority of mortgage professionals. Like the common LO is missing their goals, they're struggling. The uncommon LO is winning in a way that's future-proof right now. So let's bring Justin on. He's going to talk about winning with first-time homebuyers. That's going to be what? I know, Justin, you also had some database. So if you want to fit in winning with first-time buyers and database, I'll let you see if you can fit that in with Phil. And let's go. Let's give him a big hand, everybody. If we were in a live audience, I'd make you all stand up. So use your reactions and welcome Justin to the stage.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Dave. What's going on, Phil? Hope everybody's gotten a lot out of this so far. I definitely know that I have. Super excited about Sales Mastery coming up on October 15th in Dallas. Love to see you there too. Dave mentioned kind of a little bit about what I'm going to be talking about today, and going to be talking to first-time home buyers, renters, and if you know anything about the market in the last 3 years, it's been challenging. And when these people come to us, it's it's a lot of fear, a lot of concern. Are rates too high? Can they afford it? Our purchase, our home price is going to be coming down. Our recession is going to be impacting home values, and a lot of different concerns for a first-time home buyer. And so when I get that initial email, that initial introduction, I'm not trying to have these conversations via telephone. I'm trying to get face-to-face over a Zoom meeting. To me, I think is critical. And when I get onto that Zoom meeting, one of the very first questions that pops up for everybody, right, is, hey, how are you? And I always say, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble. And for me, that's something that is different than what most loan officers or most mortgage advisors would go back and say, right? Oh, I'm good. How are you? oh, okay, I'm good. And then they kind of hop into it. For me, I'm trying to kind of ease their guard, bring a smile to their face, make them laugh a little bit. And just with that one simple phrase of, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble, I can't tell you how many times I've had people say, oh man, and they go into a story about, trying to stay out of trouble themselves. So it helps me build connection right from the jump. So that's the first thing, build that connection right from the start, show some empathy, show a little bit of a personality, and not just jump into kind of the numbers. From there, what I typically like to do is just ask a lot of questions, right? They're renting right now. And so one of my favorite questions to ask is, what do you love about renting? And let them tell you. A lot of times it's going to say, man, I actually freaking can't stand renting. I don't want to be in this place anymore. And so then you can ask, well, what do you not like about renting? And they're going to tell you, I, don't want to pay the landlord's mortgage. My neighbors are super loud. They like to party, keep me up till midnight, not good for wife and kids, whatever the reason is, right? And it's a simple way for you to kind of move into the next phrase of questions at that point. And so for me, I kind of walk through the application itself, just kind of in my head. And before I get into that, I always love to ask, hey, curious question. Have you gone through this process before? Have you talked to a lender before? I want to know what their experience has been. And most of the time, if they do say yes, I'll always follow that with, hey, do you mind if I take a stab at kind of how that went? I'm assuming you probably, picked up the telephone, you talked to the loan officer for 15 minutes or so. They send, hey, fill this link out to the application, and then I'm going to give you some homework and upload your documents. Is that kind of about, how it went? And 9 times out of 10, the response is always, yes, that's exactly how it went. And so for me, that's an early place where I can jump in and really kind of sell against that other loan officer at that point, because I can come in and say, well, Phil, I'm really sorry that that happened to you. And they're like, well, what do you mean I'm sorry? Well, Phil, you see, that's a person that really only cares about selling you a debt. They don't really care about the long-term impact of the financial decisions that buying this home are going to have on both you and your family. And so now I'm kind of provoking a little bit of curiosity in their mind of, oh crap, I didn't realize that. Because to continue on that script, right? It's if that person really cared about what happened to your financial future, they would have had to ask a lot more questions than just spending that 10 to 15 minutes with you. There's a lot more that goes into it, right? And so we can talk through what that process looks like. I'll spend maybe 5 minutes kind of touching on what we do before the transaction, during the transaction, and then what we feel like is most important is after the transaction. Because again, most loan officers, what they do is they do a great job communicating. They close the loan on time. And then once the loan is done, they say, hey, Phil, congratulations to you and your family. Thank you for letting us help you. Good luck with the move. But there's nothing that comes after the transaction. And I feel like that's where we as an industry as a whole, we can do a lot more. We can establish strike rates for people. We can help them build a family office around them, meaning an estate planner, a CPA, a financial planner. And if we take the time to understand where they're at in their world, man, we can really have a far more, valuable impact in their life than just giving them debt and helping them with a rate, a payment, and a cash to close. And so we'll go through that process. The whole point of that initial dreams and goals call is to really get them to the next meeting, which is the pre-purchase consultation. And admittedly, Phil, you were a keynote in Vegas a couple of years ago. I think it was Sales Mastery, and you had put your hands up and you were like, which one looks more valuable, value or price? And man, a light bulb went off in my head just sitting there in that meeting, because when I got into the pre-purchase consultation, the numbers was the most important thing that we touched on. It wasn't the value that we give after the transaction. And so when I heard you start to talk about that, I completely flipped how I did everything. I started with value first, and then I touched on price and the numbers really at the very end for 10, maybe 15 minutes. But the majority of that conversation was really around the value that we give as far as managing the debt, establishing the strike rate, helping them understand how interest rates move and why they move, what reports impact interest rates, and really kind of get into how they can be a successful homeowner from a standpoint of the monthly maintenance reminders that we provide, the home report or home bot report that we provide every month that shows them what the value is, how much equity they have. And that's kind of my process. One of the other favorite questions that I have for first-time home buyers, especially if they're hesitant and they're worried about home prices going down, is, what do you know about how much equity homeowners have built over the last 5 years? And I'll pause and I'll wait. Majority of the time, they don't know. And so for me, I love to do everything over Zoom. I love to have slides and data points that I can touch on, but not just talk about, but really visually show people the data that I'm looking at and seeing, and why I feel so confident that buying is an opportune time for most people if they can do it, right? And I think one of the important keys for originators to have is not everybody should buy a house right now. And here's another, one-liner script, whatever you want to call it, that I like to use. And it's, hey, Phil, I want to make sure that this comes off right. I hope that this doesn't come off wrong, but Phil, I really don't care if you buy our home or not. That's not the goal of this conversation. The goal of this conversation is to help you have confidence and clarity around whatever decision it is that you decide to make. And if that means that you want to buy a home, great. We can absolutely help you with that. If that means that you want to wait and renting is better for you right now, that's also okay, because that allows us to help you build a plan, a strategy, and a timeline for when the time is right.
Be careful of saying I don't care.
Okay.
See, my care here is not to be able to sell you a home. My care here is to help you make a smart decision, a decision that is strong for you in the future. My care is not to get a commission off this loan. My care is,
Okay.
so you do care. Just tell me what you care about. Don't tell me you don't care.
Okay.
Because you actually care like crazy. See it, feel it. It comes across in the way that you communicate. In fact, one of your primary value propositions is you care. Simply tell me what you care for, not that you don't care. My care is less about getting you into a mortgage today. My care is helping you make a long-term decision about home ownership that is something that you feel confident about, not just today, but many years into the future. One of the big differentiators is that our care travels long past the closing line. That what we do is that we care about you achieving your goals in real estate. See, I'm pretty sure that nobody wants to hold a mortgage for 30 years. I've never met a 6-year-old in my life that's like, when I grow up, I cannot wait to have an institutionalized debt that holds me accountable for making a monthly payment for that many months. Nobody's looking forward to that.
Right.
What people are looking for is for different things than that. And a differentiator of why people choose to work with organizations like the one that we're building here, Justin, is we've learned that people have changing circumstances, that people are looking to have a healthy relationship with the loan attached to real estate. People are looking to build wealth in real estate, and people are highly likely to make multiple moves in their life. And that's why people need to understand those people when I want to be that person for you.
Okay.
Different, right? And we want to package the way that we care. There's so much magic though in what you're bringing. Is you're accessible. That's what you're doing. Is you're not frightening. Instantly, I realize that I'm not dealing with a call center.
Right.
Like my assumption as a consumer when interacting with a mortgage professional was like this is a suit and tie in a branch at best, or more likely it's somebody who's been working on their American English accent that lives in a different country that is punching numbers into a computer that hopefully spits out the right answer. You are like disregarding that stereotype from the get-go. You're 30 seconds into an interaction with Justin and you're like, oh, this is a real dude who lives here locally. I think something you can always do though, and I don't mind the staying out of trouble piece, and Jeremy Lee Minor teaches that, and I think there is huge premise to it. It's a little risky though.
Okay.
I think something you can always do, and it doesn't mean that it's not a tool to use, but other things is just show you're local. How are you? Like which part of the world are you in, Justin?
Dallas, Fort Worth.
Okay. I'm okay. I'm simply trying to get over like what happened to the Cowboys last week. Right? It is, you can be simply as playful, but add specificity to say that you're a local person too.
Okay.
How are you? I'm pretty decent, but I'll be better when I get to go to the barbecue later with the boys. Like, is you can bring truth into it that volunteers a part of self that then might mirror a part of self back into it. That you're still achieving the same outcome, but you're showing up as a human that allows people's guard to be able to drop and sales resistance is protected. There is something else that's really important here that everybody should catch from a mindset point of view. And what Justin is doing is playing a longer game than most. Like, most are playing to, how do I get the loan? How do I get it approved? How do I get into closing table? And most realtors are the same. In the real estate business, your industry is very, very similar to the wedding dress retail business. You catch that? Almost identical. And in the wedding dress retail business, if you were to own a wedding dress retail store, when would you celebrate the success of the transaction? See, most would celebrate the success of the transaction when she says yes to the dress. Cha-ching, swipe credit card, today was a good day. For those of you on this call right now, how many of you have worn a wedding dress? Was the day that you decided to buy the dress the most important day in how that dress performed? Or was there a day that came later than that transaction that you felt confident that your decision was the right one? So if you were a smart wedding dress retail business, what you would do is you'd build a customer experience not around the day she chose the dress or the fittings for the dress. If you were a smart wedding dress retailer, you'd build it around at least the wedding day, how that product performed on the day it was intended. Like, no one's buying a house for closing day. People celebrate closing day. Closing day sucks. It's stress fueled. It's confusion. There's buyer's remorse. There's anxiety. And you're like, oh, congratulations. Here's a chopping board. And they're like, I don't even know I can afford this place yet. We've got so much going on. We've got so much to be able to do. And you're like, happy. Here's some champagne, even though you don't drink, right? We mess it up all the time. But you know what a super smart wedding dress retail business would do? Is it understand there's a day that even comes past the wedding day that is even more important to a wedding dress wearer. And it's the day that the wedding dress wearer gets to see themselves in the dress, in the photographs. They look at the photographs after all the anxiety of the high stakes moment is gone, and they look at the images and they're like, dang, I look smoking hot. Made the right choice. Dress was a winner. If you would run your customer experience right through to your equivalent of them seeing themselves in the dress, what would it do to both reputation, referrals, and everything else that comes with it? Plus, how would it help you show up differently to somebody like a first-time buyer that you see that you're in it for a longer period of time? It would be game-changing, right? And Justin, you do that. I just wanted to label it more cleanly to everybody else to be able to capture what it is that you're doing. Is you are not trying to win in the who's got the lowest rate sandbox. You're playing in a big sandbox. Here are some tiny questions, though, that would make a massive difference with first-time buyers.
Okay.
Note this, is that rapport is safely built in the past. The easiest place to build rapport is by asking people questions they know the answer to. Most people try to build rapport on questions that people don't know the answer to. They use present and future questions as opposed to past. You're speaking to a renter right now is like, how long have you been in that building? They're like, I know this one. You're like, where were you before? Oh, and what about before that? And how did you go about choosing where you're at right now? What are some of the things that you love about the place that you currently live in? You see how these questions are really easy to answer, and they start to get into a rhythm where you're building a capture to it. Now, here's one of the most important questions that gives confidence to a first-time buyer. And how long do you see yourself living in the neighborhood? See, if that answer is not a long time, buying is riskier. If they say, I'm going to be here more than a minute, you're like, okay. But what if you then hang around a little longer here and you say, like, I know you've mentioned to me that if you were looking to buy, like, you'd be looking at a similar size apartment, house, etc. to the one you're living right now. Is like, can you foresee any changes in life circumstances over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years that might mean that space is not necessarily the right size? See if they're saying, no, it's going to be plenty big enough. No, it's got all the means in it. Like, what are they doing? They're feeling stronger about the decision to be able to move forward with this. So what you want to try to do is not to overcome the objection of them choosing you for a mortgage, overcome the objection of them being a homeowner in that piece of property for the next 3, 5, 7, 8, 9 years. If they can feel confident that the property they're going to buy is going to serve them for 5 years plus, everything else is easier. But we try and win in this micro moment. So go backwards in time to get them to tell you about their past, then future cast your questions towards how long they see themselves in the area, be experimental around what could go wrong in that decision without coming straight at it. Watch how much confidence they'll have of feeling your care about a 10-year window, not a 10-minute window, and it will feel better. I'm going to give one thing for everybody here when it comes to making decisions. There are 3 factors that everybody wants to feel to make a decision with confidence. And first-time buyers right now are nervy. There's a lot of press out here that's noisy. You are up against TikTok, Instagram influencers telling people loud that renting is better than buying. Is this true? Yes or no?
Yes.
So we've got to hedge against that by understanding that noise is out there, and hedge against it by understanding that there's truth in that, only providing you're going to move every 5 minutes. If you're going to move every 5 minutes, please don't buy a house.
Right.
But if you're going to commit to home ownership for a sustained period of time, then the upside outweighs the bad side almost every data set that you look at. So here's what people want to feel when it comes to making decisions. 3 things. 1 is smart. 2 is capable. And 3 is good. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, where's the big idea here, Phil? This is not that complex. Smart is I have enough information to make a decision. That is sometimes factors like I can make overpayments as my salary or my income increases. Smart means, well, actually, I understand like all of the overall expenses that are going to be required for closing, as well as how much this could cost me over a period of time, as well as how I might be able to buy down the rate. Like enough information, and there's a spectrum depending upon who you're talking to, but not too much information. Enough. Capable means I can afford this. With first-time buyers, explore their capabilities. Like I might not like a 6.25% rate. But can I afford it? That's a different question. Like how many times have you spent money that is more than you would like and you're okay with it because you're capable? I'll give one example. I think the Wi-Fi on a 2-hour flight from New York to Texas for $35 is daylight robbery. Take my money. Why? Because I can afford to do it. I'm capable of being able to take that loss. I also know that there are times that I've paid more for things than I wanted to and feel great about it. Why? Because it's affordable. But if it's not affordable, we're in trouble. So what do we look at is we say that our low interest rates are a little higher right now than perhaps you would have hoped them to be. Is that kind of payment amount based on what your earnings right now, is that affordable to you? Yeah, I can afford it. Now, how long do you see yourself working in your existing career? Is there some stability around that? Yeah, we're going to be here more than a minute. And when it comes to your income, do you see that going up, going down, or staying about the same? Well, it should be going up. Oh, so the payments we're talking about right now are affordable today, and they're only going to become more affordable in time. Yes. Oh, and if interest rates were to come down, you do know that strong employment history will allow you to, so that you can access today's prices and tomorrow's rates. Now let's look at good decisions. What are good decisions? Justin, how many decisions have you made in your life that you've never thought about again?
Cool.
It's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
A lot. Those are called your good decisions. See, our greatest decisions, we craft stories on, we fabricate them, we make them better, we share them with others. Our bad decisions, we revisit for do-overs, looking to be able to say, how could we have done things differently? But our good decisions, we make them, life goes on. We make them, life goes on. We make them, life goes on. In fact, when we make good decisions consecutively, we build momentum. If you can ask questions, not just more questions, but questions that help your buyer feel smart, questions that help them realize that they're capable, and questions that are going to have them realizing that they're going to feel good about this, game over. And with first-time buyers, that's the emotional intelligence that's required. So I love everything you're doing. I'm simply trying to give you more method around it that says when you're in those conversations, break the ice in a similar way, but now you've got utility. Go backwards before you come forwards. They'll tell you and get into a pattern of telling you the truth. Help them feel strong that this is a long-term decision, not a 5-minute decision. And then play with smart, capable, and good, that before you pitch you have them realize now's a good time. It's a right number. They've got the means of being able to do it, and it'll be worth it in the long run. Slam dunk.
Game over. Yeah. Super helpful. Super helpful.
That was really awesome. One of the things you don't know, Phil, is that Justin is exactly what to say certified. He came through with Deborah and I in Dallas last year, and he brought one of his real estate agents to get certified alongside of him. So not only is he smart, he's extremely smart for bringing someone along to have that experience with him.
And Justin, just talk for a second, that experience of being led through a training around the curriculum that I've crafted with Todd and Deb, like, how was that for you? Because I saw moments of it showing up even in your role play that you delivered a short while ago.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. It allows you to use, I gotta like be careful on how to say it, right? Like, but the words are magical, and it can really take a conversation to a whole nother level. Like one of my favorite things that we have that we offer for families is our monthly maintenance tool. And so with this tool, I'll always use the phrase, just imagine you walk into a home today, and on the island, there's a detailed report for you of everything that that seller has done to maintain that home. Does that help you feel more confident about buying that home? Yes. Now flip that. Just imagine you've been there for 5 to 7 years. You leave that same report on the island. Now every prospective buyer that walks in is going to feel the exact same way that you told me you just would, Phil. It's going to help you sell that home for more money. So using the magic words, man, has been a huge difference in my business for sure. It's part of the reason why we've been able to grow each of the last 3-4 years while we've been dealing with a challenging market. So it was a highly valuable experience for me. I would highly recommend it.
And Todd, I think you and Deb are doing something again, right? That is purely for loan originated professionals, people that tread into the real estate industry.
Yes, you know what? We were tired of people complaining, Phil. Everyone wanted us to bring it to their city, and we couldn't go to every city in America. So we've, with your blessing and the time that you and I spent on Zoom crafting it, we'll be doing in the first week of December our first ever virtual certification for real estate professionals and loan officers, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Deborah and I have done critical conversations on Zoom for exactly what to say. We had really great feedback, great success with that. And I think taking what we've been doing in person now and bringing it to Zoom so everyone can Zoom in, come on in and join us, I think will make it that much more of a valuable experience. So we're super excited about it. Deborah will probably throw the link in there since I see her making comments about the Cowboys in there. It's just EWTS with toddandDeb.com. But it's going to be a great experience. And I'm super grateful, Phil, that you helped us craft what it's going to look like.
And even virtually, I think you're still putting the full workbook, the physical printed workbook in people's hands, correct?
Yeah, and I think that's what people don't realize is that when you go through the certification, not only do you spend the time doing the practice that you talk about, we really take a deep dive into the 4 cornerstones of effective communication. And then we also will be going through the workbook, which has, there's 23 magic words and phrases, as you know, in your book, but there's 32 magic words and phrases in a specific sequence actually in the workbook. And so that I think will always adds a lot of value. I think that people have that as a good takeaway to bring home afterwards. And so it'll be available as well. And look at that. Miss Bird just jumped online.
I mean,
Dave, do I
as soon
have a
as you-
second? There was oh, sorry, Debbie.
Go ahead.
You're good. Go for it.
No, I was just going to give him grief about the Cowboys. So those of you who sign up virtually and show up the first week of December, wear your favorite football team jersey. Unless you're an Eagles fan. Okay, carry on.
So there was a question that was, what do you suggest for exactly what to say when you've pre-approved a client and they're now deciding to shop you after the fact? This is one of my favorite things to touch on. I love teaching on this topic right here. I would recommend get the close before they start to leave you. And how you can do that is if your company offers kind of a TBD approval where you go through underwriting, you get fully pre-approved beforehand. The way that I kind of sell this is, look, hey, Phil, the next step in the process is what I would recommend to go through is our TBD loan approval. This is going to allow you to really kind of take a gun to a knife fight. It's going to allow you to compete with any cash offer that's out there. I don't know if this is for you, but 34% of offers last year were cash offers. And so a light bulb kind of went off in my head of how do we compete with that? Well, we need to be able to close within 10 to 15 days. We need to waive our finance contingency, and then we need to have a strategy to potentially waive our appraisal contingency. And doing all of those three things will help you when you're in those kind of situations where you're in multiple offer situations competing with others. So Phil, again, I don't know if this is for you, but I only do this for people that are committed to working with us because it costs me about $1,000 in man hours. And if that's something you'd like to do, this would be the next step.
Love it. So guys, words matter, strategy matters, first-time home buyers matter. Whatever AI that you use, I did an AI prompt that I want everybody to do right now, and I said, how many people currently qualify to buy a home? They're renting and they qualify. By the way, I asked this before rates lowered. Well, first of all, I asked if rates come down 0.5%, how many will qualify? And it said like 2.3 million. And then I asked, and if rates come down a point, how many more will qualify? It was like 5 million. And then I said, based off of today's rates, how many people qualify? And the number was 9 million. And when I asked why have they not bought a home, it was misconceptions around what credit they needed and misconceptions around down payment. So guys, what you just heard was a masterclass on how to connect with first-time home buyers better than ever. Highly make sure that you're using a mortgage coach, rent versus own, which all the speakers today use. And highly recommend you're active in the First Home IQ community. We'll put a link to that, but it's a community dedicated to financial literacy, dedicated to education and inspiration around homeownership, because first-time home buyers matter more than ever. Rate and term refis matter. Winning with realtors matter. One of the best ways to win with realtors is to crush it with first-time home buyers. So great job, guys. Thank you, Justin.
Thanks, guys.
Bill, you just cease to amaze, bro. Like you just keep bringing the gold, man. We're halfway through, guys. This is halftime. We're not going to take a halftime break. We are running a little behind schedule. I will be notifying some of the other speakers. Remember, this is recorded. This will be on YouTube by the end of the day. And there will be a link down below. All the links that have been mentioned will be in that master link brought to you by housing.link. So, Todd, who do we got next and what are we going to talk about?
We got Ryan Kiefer, as I mentioned. He's also a certified guide like Deborah and I, and so it's going to be great to have him on here because he's going to show off some of his master work. Ryan's a producing branch manager from Cincinnati, or is it Cincinnati proper, or are you in a suburb? I can't remember which one, but he's a Bengals fan, so that's good. They're out there quarterback, so give him a little sympathy for that. But take it away, Ryan.
Wait a minute. I got to add a little bit more because I've interviewed Ryan multiple times this year. He is an uncommon LO. He's doing better this year than last year. He's doing it in a way that's future-proof. He is a producing manager. He's mentoring, helping other loan officers. So let's go, brother. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, actually having a record year personally, volume wise at least. So it's been good. It's been good. But got to follow up Jay Force and Allison and Justin here. So no pressure, right? And then Phil with his ever watchful eyes there. I'm looking forward to that. But real quick, just want to give a shout out, sort of a congratulations to all the loan officers that are on here. First of all, congratulate yourselves on your I Survived the Tough Times record. right? As many as, 65, 70% of LOs are gone since 2021, depending on, the metric or the study that you look at. And on top of that, you're easily in the top 1% of the remaining 35% by the very fact that you showed up here today. I think Dave mentioned that earlier at the top of the call, the fact that you're investing in yourself with your time and your energy and being present here, you're exactly the type of loan officer that's going to succeed going forward. So thank you and congratulations there. So I thought I would talk about, calling on realtors, a little bit similar to what Allison talked about, but a little bit different angle perhaps. And she did a really great job on that. So again, no pressure here, but I thought the reason that it could be, possibly a good time to call on realtors, could it be possible, right, Phil, is that a lot of loan officers are starting to focus on refinances in certain markets. We heard Jeremy earlier, he's got 27 refis he's working on of 35 contacts that he reached out to. Just kidding. I love you, J-Force. But, there are loan officers out there that are, they're starting to take their eye off the ball again, circa 2020, 2021, because refis are out there and they are, it's easy business. So, feel like we can enjoy those refinances at the same time while we don't take our eye off the ball on our realtor partners. So now's the perfect time to double down on realtors, call on them while they're not getting hopefully 5 phone calls a day like they were in 2023 and 24 with loan officers asking them out for coffee, right? So that said, the conversation that I'm going to go through is we're going to kind of quickly go through an initial call or a text or email, if you will, or reach out, to a realtor to try and schedule a meeting. It might be a little bit different than one you've heard before. We'll then go through the basic framework of the meeting itself. And in the third part, because I bet you're a bit like me, some of you out there, we have these realtor meetings sometimes, and then, we feel really great. We're walking out of this breakfast or lunch or coffee or whatever, going back to our car. We're like, man, that went awesome. They said they're going to send me on this business. And then, a month later, it's crickets. We haven't heard from them. Does this happen to anybody? Give me a thumbs up or something there in the chat. This certainly is at least, happened to me on more than one occasion. You have these great meetings and then, crickets after that, right? So the last part of this, I want to give you what we call a Columbo close, and we'll explain what that is, that hopefully will help you, get some business. We'll give you a bit of a call to action and an agreed upon follow-up plan with these agents after you meet them, okay? So who are we calling? That's important, right? No one likes to make cold calls, and I certainly wouldn't suggest that. So let's go after, I think this was mentioned earlier, maybe some agents that we've at least done a deal with in the last 12 months, maybe listing agents that we're on the other side of a transaction, in the last 6 months or a year, maybe agents that we work with on a somewhat regular basis, but we're pretty sure we're not getting 100% of their business, right? And that's pretty easy to look up these days with different tools out there. So that would be who I would start with versus cold calls, because we want to build momentum. It's kind of like going out there and like warming up for a basketball game. You don't start out, launching 3-pointers and half-court shots. You're going to start out with layups and free throws, the easy stuff. Let's get warmed up. Let's build some critical momentum. So let's make some warmer calls. That said, so the initial call, I'll give you a basic framework, and some of this is from Phil's work in EWTS. So there is an acronym that is OFQ, and a lot of you on here have heard this one before. So O stands for opening, introducing who you are. F is mutually agreed upon fact. And then Q is the question. So instead of just calling up and saying, hey, Joe Realtor, how's it going? Oh, it's fine. What do you want? You're going to use the framework of OFQ. So let's pretend I'm calling a listing agent that we did a deal, a few months ago together, but I haven't gotten any business from them. So that's going to sound something like, hey, Todd, it's Ryan Kiefer over First Community Mortgage. We worked on your transaction there, your great listing at 123 Main Street back a couple of months ago. It was really a pleasure working with you. Hey, listen, Todd, I don't know if this is for you, but how open-minded would you be to taking on some additional business right now? And you hear how different that sounds right away. Hopefully that's creating a curiosity gap. They're like, well, what are you talking about? And curiosity is the fuel for great conversations here. So hopefully that's sparking an interest, and you're going to get replies like, you might get a reply like, well, sure, I'm always looking to take on more business. Or you might, of course, get replies like, hey, Ryan, great to hear from you. I've already got a couple loan officers that I work with. Or, hey, what is this all about? Are you trying to sell me leads? What are we doing here? They'll start putting the guard up right away. And we've got rebuttals for all those. The one with the loan officers is easy. You could say something as simple as, hey, Todd, I appreciate you telling me you've got a couple loan officers you work with. A realtor or an agent of your caliber, I would expect that you would have at least a couple of great LOs that you work with. Stroke, point, validation for them, right? You're acknowledging that they are a great agent. And so from there, you can simply say, listen, I'm not really concerned about those other loan officers, and I'm not trying to upset the apple cart here and take anything away from them. My bigger concern is I know I can generate additional business for you, and I'm just wondering if you're going to be able to handle it and take it on. Again, how different does that sound, right? So the goal here is to, of course, get a meeting, whether it's face-to-face, it could be coffee, much to Phil's chagrin, or it could be bourbon, it could be working out together, it could be taking a walk, it could be breakfast, lunch, whatever. Zoom is fine too. Face-to-face is preferable, but Zoom works as long as you can see their face and they can see yours, so you can get that bonding and rapport and you can build that credibility, right? And Zoom is certainly cheaper than all the other options as well. So that is the goal then, to get a meeting. If you can get a half an hour or an hour out of them, fantastic. 15 to 20 minutes works as well. So let's talk about the framework of the meeting itself, right? So we go into this meeting. Just remember that prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. And I know in the past, I used to have a tendency to do this. We just can't wait to tell these agents all the great things that we offer. We want to go in there, as Justin just mentioned, hey, I got this TBD program, we can close them in 2 weeks, comes with a $5,000 guarantee to the seller. It's pretty much a cash offer. Or, hey, I got this great seller buy down strategy for your listings that have been sitting there for 30 days or longer, whatever. If you present prematurely, and tell them up front all of these great tools that you have, they're going to spend the rest of their time fighting you on why those tools don't really help solve their problems or their issues, right? So just remember, don't insert your content before you have their context, right? Until you can say the words, because of the fact that you said blank, I'm going to recommend blank, blank, and blank. If you can't say because of the fact that you said this, then don't recommend anything, okay? So that's just for starters, to sort of put that out there and level set the meeting here. And as Phil said earlier, he kind of stole my thunder a little bit. Rapport is easiest and best built starting in the past. Don't jump right in like, so how's business going? How's your year? Are you behind on your goals? That kind of thing. Start in the past. Hey, how long have you been an agent? Or if it's someone you know already, remind me, how long is it that you've been a realtor? What'd you do before you got into the business? And to Phil's point, hey, I know this one, easy to answer questions, build that rapport up. Have you always worked for the same brokerage? Who did you work for before? How long have you been with this company? Then you can shift into the present. What kind of year did you have last year in 2024? How's 2025 going for you? Here we are, first day of Q4. Are you on track to hit your goals? Are you behind? Are you ahead of track? Right? And so, with that, what we want to do is, be able to then present the prescription, whatever that is, to show them that we can help them do more business. Now, in my world, at least, that typically is something like what we call our green light approval. That's a TBD approval where we turn the buyer into a cash-like buyer. And the stat that we always use is cash and cash-like offers are 4 times more likely to win in a multiple offer situation. And we still have quite a bit of multiple offers going on. Not as much as we used to. The market is certainly shifting, but we still do have quite a bit of multiple offers out there. So that's one of the tools. So figure out, what those tools are for you and your world and in your market, and what the prescription is. And finally, the close. This is the real tweak that we made here about a year ago or so, because again, if you're anything like I am historically, you leave these meetings, you felt great vibes with this person, they're going to send you all this business, and then nothing, right? A month later, 2 months later, you haven't gotten a single lead. So the big tweak that we made was the Columbo close. Now, some of you out there are younger, you're probably like, who the heck's Columbo? Only the greatest TV detective ever, okay? So Columbo had this unassuming sort of personality that whoever the guilty party was, when he was questioning them, they thought they were pulling one over on him, right? So, they thought they were getting away with it, and he would always be ready to leave and going out the door, and he would say, just one more thing. Okay, so the way I play this, it works great in person, especially. So you know how, let's say you're at coffee or you're out to breakfast or lunch, you get the bill, you pay it, whatever. You can kind of sense the body language when the other party's like ready to leave. So you're getting ready to leave, and you go, oh, hey Todd, just one more thing. Because of the fact that you said it was important to you to do more business this year, you were a little bit behind on your goals. Might I recommend something? And then we're going to take them through what I would call a lost leads conversation, but maybe a newer variation of it. And that is simply, we're going to ask them, remind me, Todd, how many deals did you say you did last year? And they'll say something like, I don't know, I closed 20 transactions last year. You say, oh, that's awesome. You're doing better than most agents, right? Another point, validation for them. Todd, if you had to guess, like, how many leads, raw leads starting out, do you think you had to talk to last year in order to get to that 20 transactions? Now, right here, you'll realize that 99% of realtors aren't tracking any of this because they have no idea how many leads they talk to, right? So, but you'll get answers like, oh, I don't know, I think I talked to 50. And you're like, wait a second, you closed 20 deals out of 50 leads, you're batting 400. Those are like Hall of Fame numbers because the industry average for agents, it's 5% lead to close rate, right? So I usually try to make it nice, easy math for myself. So I'll just throw out a number. So if they say something crazy like, hey, 50 leads, I'll say, okay, well, that's really, really good. The industry average is 5%. Let's say you're twice as good as that, Todd. So if you closed 20 deals last year, you probably talked to maybe 200 people, right? Does that sound fair? Yeah, sure. Okay, well, 200 people that you spoke with, 180 of which didn't use you. That's pretty easy math. That's 4 people a week that you're speaking with on average. Does that sound about right still? Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, again, because of the fact that you said that you want to do more business this year, what I would recommend, what happens next here is that, let me talk to these people as you get them on a weekly basis, especially if they haven't 100% committed to you. With the new buyer's agency agreement last August, just 14 months ago, people were getting less and less committed to agents. I'm happy to call these people, have a different conversation, even just giving them a warm third-party testimonial where I say like, oh, you're working with Todd? Wow, you're in great hands. He's one of the absolute best. Even something like that can help move the needle. Now, I'm not trying to blue sky it and say that I'm going to help you go from 20 deals to 30 deals. Maybe it's just 2 more or 3 more deals per year. And, but again, look at how much you're making off of those deals. And these are leads that you already have. This isn't costing you a single thing. How does that sound? And Todd's going to say a couple different things like, number one, something like, wow, you would really do that for me? That's almost like doing my job. You're going to call these leads after, I've already worked with these people and not 100% committed. Or you'll get something like, yeah, I've been working with the same 2 LOs for the last 10 years and neither one of them have ever offered to do something like this, right? So from there, then you say, and this is the key moment. This is where the rubber meets the road. Say, great, I'd be more than happy to do that, get in the trenches and help out here, Todd. So what happens next is we need to schedule a call once a week for the next 8 weeks. Well, we'll schedule for 5 minutes on your calendar. Mine only take 3 minutes. The goal of the call every week is you're going to tell me everybody you've spoken with in the past week. You're going to give me their name, their phone number, a little bit of context to how you left things with them. Maybe it's a first-time buyer who's nervous that now's the right time to buy. Maybe it's somebody who wants to buy a new home, but don't think that they can before they sell. That whole thing, buy before you sell strategy. Whatever it is, I'll call them, have a different conversation, hopefully be able to warm some of these leads back up here and there and refer them back to you. Right now, if you're like a lot of my loan officers, you're getting really nervous right now because you're doing the math and you're thinking like, oh my gosh, this is a ton of work. I'm going to call these leads for all these agents. Here's the beautiful part of it, right? It only becomes lost leads for about 2 weeks. About the 3rd week in, if you're doing these regular calls with these realtors, it turns into new leads. They're going to go ahead and give you the leads when they're brand new because they know you're calling, you're building that rapport, you're doing what you said you were going to do, right? So you're not even chasing after these lost leads anymore. But it gives you a reason to follow up on a systematic basis. And what's that old saying? 80% of all sales are made after the 8th sales call. Well, here you go. Here's your 8-week follow-up after your first face-to-face or your Zoom meeting. So that's my script there, Phil. Feel free to take it away and please improve upon it. Well, you might be on mute, Phil.
I'm here. Sorry, I have a mute button on my microphone at the same time as a mute button on the screen. And I was here like a little proud papa, like with Ryan sharing gold after gold after gold. That was your work, Venn diagramming over the top of what we teach in EWTS. But I did a quick wardrobe change just to be able to match in the inverse. And for the other reason is that I was melting in a hoodie. Like it was freezing this morning when I left. And then I'm like here in this, I'm like, I am about 3,000 degrees in this. And yeah, these are things that we wear as uniform that also spark conversations. And I really encourage people to particularly utilize their wardrobe to be able to create opportunities. When you wear a t-shirt that says curiosity is the fuel to great conversation, what does it mean? It means people start conversations with you. It creates a change. And happy to be able to bring that up. But Ryan, you crushed. Is there so much gold in there? I want to try and though do 2 things. One is reverse engineer something that you taught so everybody feels like they got a method. And then 2 is I'm going to pick on you for like 2 or 3 little tiny tweaks that would make a massive impact. Where do you want me to start? Method or the tweaks?
Up to you. Go for it.
Let's do the method first, right? So let's do some tweaks. Sorry, first is please, please, pretty please. Can we all stop saying, how does that sound? So what you were doing is you were delivering this advice, this is asked towards a realtor that you're going to make these calls on their behalf. And then you're asking, how does that sound? It's a very difficult question to answer.
Mhm.
Want to improve your conversion, just swap how does that sound, or would that help? Like, look how much friction there is that doesn't well, yeah, it sounds all right, but like would that help? Yes, that would help. Watch how quick that would move. Also, another tiny tweak that would make a massive difference is when you're speaking to people that are defending the fact they have an existing relationship, just ask them with a giant curiosity gap. Do you love them? That's a way harder position to defend. Like, you know, we got an existing relationship. We've worked with somebody for the last 12 years. Like, they do a pretty good job. Yeah, but do you love them? Well, I mean, you see how you just create a wobble. And everything that we're looking at here is how do you create a curiosity gap? Because this isn't you versus somebody that's terrible. In almost every set of circumstances, it's not like you're awesome and the other person is a disaster. It's like your version of good versus somebody else's version of pretty darn good with longevity. It's a tough battle to win. So we're trying to create a curiosity gap. And if you're unfamiliar with what a curiosity gap is, it's the same reason why you decide to watch a single episode of a Netflix show, only to then go to bed at 4 a.m. having crossed the season. It's because the writers knew how to be able to keep you in the conversation for long enough. And I think in these referral relationships, these repeat visits, our job is to stay in the conversation for longer. You're trying to create curiosity gaps. So when you say, like, yeah, but do you love them? Your posture in that has them then wanting to come more towards you. Does that make sense? Let's also reverse engineer the structure here, because this is going to allow every single one of you to be able to approach conversations with a greater level of competence. Now, let me not tell you all my password, because then you'll be able to get into my ATM at the same time, get through the back door, be able to see what I've been sending messages to people in the team. That would be a disaster. What Ryan taught was OFQ, which stands for opening fact question. But where do you go after OFQ? Well, what he then taught was this idea of asking questions in more of a structured fashion that is safer. He then went past, present, future. What he then did, but then didn't necessarily spell out so precisely, is he then gave some ways of being able to nudge it forward from here. And the simplest ways of being able to nudge it forward from here, which calls back to one of those pieces of advice I gave you a second ago, Ryan, is would it help if, and then when would be a good time? And watch how this structure supports. Let's look at any conversation you're having. And Ryan, you're here in the convo, or we can go to the chat right now, is like, what is a conversation that we're looking to start with OFQ? Give me something random. All right, I'm going to use Gabby's here. Any pushback on them wanting to keep their leads contacts into safe and not hand it out? They say that. So we're going to start a new conversation. Your opening, Gabby, is going to be, I get it. The mutually agreeable fact is client discretion and being compliant upon data is something that's important to both of us. Can you see any other reason why this wouldn't be a good idea? No. Okay. So how often have you been contacting these people historically? Ah, got it. You haven't. And what have you got planned to do with them right now? Oh, nothing. So, do you think it would be beneficial if we could maybe see if we can create something here for the future? They say yes. You say, well, would it help if we at least tried it with a handful? And when would be a good time for us to get started? What about cards? I have to hand out 3 business cards. Yeah, I get it. I mean, giving our customers choice is something that we're all obligated to do. And you want to give them smart choices, right? So who have you been referring in the past? And you always give them 3 impartial choices? And those that you recommend right now, is there the perfect choice? So you're saying there's a chance? Hey, would it help if I produced a little simple email that you could copy paste and just share with some others that would help them realize that in an equal horse race that working with Ryan might be a good idea? And when would be a good time for me to get that to you? See, what we have here is we have method. And I know that we're here in Script-A-Palooza. And I know that we're here where we wanted to be able to get like the exact scripts. And I also know that I wrote a book called Exactly What to Say. But what you're looking to be able to have is confidence in conversation, for which you need principles. And when you have principles, you can bring your own personality to it. And Ryan, that was one of my favorite things about watching what you've shared here today and building on what Justin did previously, is these are people that have learned method that's been taught from my body of work that have then brought self to them. And there's nothing that you delivered that sounded like me, but it was built from foundations. And it was built from something that felt true to you. And that's what happens when you learn method. So if you're looking to learn method, plug into the stuff that we teach, plug into what Todd and Deb have had, learn how you can work more with Ryan, and we can teach you the method. And then what you can do is bring your magic to the message and make it feel true.
Love that. Dan said it right. Mic drop. Gabby said brilliant. And again, the power of a framework, the power of words. You know, we shared a link again to sign up for that virtual with Todd and Deb. There's no excuse not to listen to this audiobook. If you already have the audiobook, listen to it again. And remember, everything we are doing today will be on YouTube. We will also be taking clips, like little, sometimes they're 30 seconds, sometimes they're 1 minute. We be putting those on Uncommon LO. So if you have not followed Uncommon LO on Instagram or TikTok, like feel free to multitask. If you are not following Phil M. Jones UK on Instagram, guys, it's a gold mine of inspiration, of tactics, of strategies, pure value. So, Todd, anything you want to say before I do the Mortgage Coach commercial, and then one of us can introduce our next guest? We're going to move Nicole Ruth up in the stage. But anything you want to say, Todd?
Well, I mean, I just think that Ryan's just a perfect example of someone who's done the work before the work and put in the practice. And so you can hear someone who's been through the Exactly What to Say certification, who has taken it seriously to up their game. And so it's not a script that he's doing. He's just walking through the magic words and phrases, and he's able to insert those into his day-to-day life. And so that's the opportunity that you have when you go through an Exactly What to Say certification. So great job, Ryan.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right, guys. A quick, by the way, thank you, Ryan, but a quick commercial from one of our sponsors. The 3 sponsors, as I said, are Trust Engine, Win by Noon, First Home IQ. Uh, but I wanted to make sure everyone knows about the new mobile app that has dropped from Mortgage Coach. So first of all, not only with this app does it have AI built into it, so now a consumer can actually engage with the Mortgage Coach total cost analysis using AI, but the loan officer can engage with the AI app. Also, this app, if you have us built into your platform, will hopefully you guys see that. I don't have to install this software, but it will actually tell you, like, here's a rate and term refi strategy where the consumer has started engaging with AI. It will tell you how many times the consumer is engaging with AI. When you click on that, you can go in and have live highlighting feature. So as a loan officer, you can walk the borrower through that experience, and you can record a video or audio, or engage with AI. Also, if you are with a company and you have us built into your tech stack, and we're actually capturing your data, which we can do, this is Mortgage Coach Next Gen, we'll tell you exactly who qualifies to refi right now in this market. We'll tell you who's most likely to be a move-up buyer. And when you click on that, like when I click on, lower monthly payment, every single screen I can email, text, it's got a script. You could update those scripts, so exactly what to say when you text. And it integrates with MortgageCoach. So guys, it's never been easier to be at the right place, top of the funnel with the consumer. Say the right things via text, email, or a call, and then deliver that amazing presentation like all of the speakers today do. They're all mortgage coaches. So guys, we are running into the fourth quarter. We have an amazing guest. This next rock star was going to be the anchor person. She is the #1 mortgage professional in the state of Colorado. I mean, again, perennial $100 million producer. The way she creates content on social media, like she is the news. Like if you're in Denver, Colorado, if you're in Nicole Roost's database, like she is bringing you education, she's bringing you inspiration, she's putting on events and creating community in Colorado. But to me, what I love most about Nicole is she is helping home buyers gain personal clarity. Like right now, confusion is the default in America. Distrust is the default in America. And there's a lot of TikTok and Instagram telling you you shouldn't buy a home. And definitely you shouldn't buy one right now. Whether you're a move up first time home buyer, getting consumers past confusion into clarity, into confidence, how to build wealth with real estate, and how to achieve financial freedom with building wealth with real estate. Nicole Ruth, one of America's best. Welcome to the stage. I'll let you and Phil talk it out, and then we'll close it out with Deborah Bird in a few minutes.
Thank you so much. Oh, I was going to go, oh, that was a short presentation as she's frozen. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for having me here again today. As I listened to each of the speakers, because I did, and I always take away so much, I just kept thinking, I don't have a script. Like, I don't even have a script to share with you guys, something that you could take away and implement right away. But what I have is a change of paradigm, a change of business, the way we're doing business, not attacking or dialing or calling our clients or our real estate agents, but leading with giving it all away. My husband and I actually have a saying that we've had for years. We tithe. We do a lot of charity work. And one of the things that we've always said is, how do we start the day? And then how do we end the day by giving away more than we receive? And so it's our goal at the end of every day that the people that we had the blessing to touch walked away a little bit more able, capable, excited about the opportunity of investing or buying real estate, or even just knowing their path. And here's, I guess, if I were to give the secret of my personal success, and I think what this world needs more of, is this world needs more go-givers. This world needs more people who are willing to not be tied to the results, more people who are willing to give away opportunity and inspiration and excitement and a path and a strategy, and not be married to the fact that I need a transaction for it. I have become known in the Denver market for the experience and the expertise and the strategy around non-QM loans. Buy before you sell, investment strategies, how do we stack programs. I had a conversation earlier today with a refinance, a super basic conversation that could have been like a 5-minute conversation for the majority of other lenders that said, this is the answer, when ultimately she just wanted to be heard. She just wanted to know that somebody understood her complex financial situation and could guide her to an answer that all of the social media and all of the noise that's coming at us made her confused and unable to make a decision or to move forward. I had a 30-minute conversation with a woman that ultimately has 2 homes, a W-2 job, 1 home is paid off, and she's just trying to decide if she should do a cash out refinance. That should have been like a 3-minute conversation, but it was a 30-minute conversation because ultimately she didn't want a solution. She wanted a strategy. And a strategy elevated her experience, and it allowed her to feel confident about making a decision to get more financing or to do a thing. And that's where I'm finding is so many people are stuck. because they can't decide to buy the first home. I'm going to stay renting, not because TikTok is telling me it's more advantageous to rent, because I can't make a decision to not rent. Like, I can't get out of my own way. I can't make a decision to move into the home that really fits my family's needs because it feels so big right now with all of the geopolitical changes that are happening and the uncertainty in the world. We have all of these things in front of us, and all we have to do is stop and listen and carve out a lot more time for each client than we're used to, and be focused not on the transaction, but the transformation. What is it that they're going through? How can I meet them right where they're at and help them to make the best decision with the information that they have today to move forward, right? So a lot of times my conversations are so much more strategy, and because agents know that I'm not pushing alone, that I'm sitting down and really getting to know a client, then they want to have their clients sit with me even in the very beginning, or if they've had another experience that maybe didn't land somewhere that they felt confident or comfortable. And so an agent will say, hey, you know what? I know that this is a lot. It's overwhelming. I know you've talked to a handful of lenders. I want you to talk to Nicole Ruth. And so I'll have this conversation, and I'll start off typically with something as basic as, tell me where you're at in the home buying journey. How are you feeling about the decision to move forward right now? What can I do to make that decision easier for you? Tell me what it looks like next Christmas. Where would you like to be? What would be success for you? So I'm just sitting and I'm holding on to what is making them feel more confident in that moment. And then I'm doubling down on that and then creating the strategy or the solution from there, not coming in with a solution. I had another first-time home buyer who I had a conversation with, and he wanted me to read his lease because he was worried about breaking it and what it would cost him. He wanted me to go through his budget with him because he was fearful that he couldn't actually afford something that I told him he could afford up here based on the numbers. And I said, but your budget is down here and I love that for you. And he wasn't even sure that here was good because of all the uncertainty in the world. So we went through his budget together so that he made sure that this new payment was the right fit for him. That's the kind of experience that I'm seeing right now. I'm feeling the fear. I didn't buy my first home until I was 30. I didn't buy my first investment until I was 40, not because I didn't know how, because I was afraid. Because I was afraid of taking a really big step into a really big liability that had unforeseen consequences, bigger than I could ever imagine, because I didn't know what they were, because I didn't ever own a rental, because I didn't own a home, because I grew up in rentals. And so if I had that fear, all I can imagine is they have that fear times 100 right now, because the world is uncertain beyond just their personal experience. So right now, if you double down and become the expert in a thing, whatever that thing is, I don't care if it's condos, gotta help me, they need you. if it's horse property, if it's first-time home buyers, if it's move-up buyers or investors, double down, become the expert, become the go-to, let everybody know that you're giving information away around that thing. Be the reason people want to refer you because she knows everything that she's talking about. He knows everything he's talking about in regards to that. I'm going to send all my condo buyers to you, all my first-time home buyers, because not only do I know that I know you're not going to try and sell them on a thing. I know you're going to walk alongside them and educate them. I know that when they land, they're going to be better equipped, whether it's to make a decision now or a year from now, 5 years from now. My thing happens to be the economy. I geek out and I love everything about the economy. I double down on it. I do a Friday market update every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. I do a coffee with Nicole on Instagram every morning for 89 seconds because it cuts me off after 90 seconds. I do all these things just to let people know I'm here. I'm hearing you. Here's what's happening in the economy. Here's how it's shifting consumer confidence. Here's how it's affecting the buyer and seller psyche right now. And here's the conversations that you can have that help give clarity where uncertainty persists. And if you just walk into a conversation adding a little more certainty, then that client is going to be right beside you the entire way, because that's ultimately what they want. And then the loan programs take care of themselves. The interest rate conversations take care of themselves. Because this one client that I had this a great conversation with, that he wanted me to go through his budget, everything else with him. He said, You know, I've talked to a lot of lenders and nobody has talked to me beyond rates and loan programs. I said, I know. He goes, but we haven't even talked about rates yet. I said, yeah, I know. And I go, how you feeling? He goes, I feel really good. I feel like you've got my back. I said, good, then let's do this. That's where I want every conversation to land. And if it's not a fit and if I'm not the right conversation for somebody, I'm okay with that because I'm going to celebrate them wherever they are. I told my team, I said, we hug people on the way out. If they found another lender, if they went with an online, if they went with a better rate, we're going to let them know that we're here because you never know when things turn around. You never know. And I want to celebrate every single person because if they're getting into home ownership, that's a win. And maybe it's not my win, but it's their win and it deserves celebrating. So if you leave everybody better than you found them and you focus on education and you focus on giving away more than you receive, the scripts take care of themselves because I don't have a script for each person because I have to deeply listen to where they're at before I even know where to start.
Nicole,
So
this
that's
is,
what I've got for us today.
I just love you pouring your whole heart out here as well. It's like, come on, people, be better. And but what you're sharing though in this expression is a few things. Is one is this idea to go into situations with other people to be helpful and also to be neutral on what the outcome is. There's so much strength that when you can step into a conversation with somebody saying, I know I can help, but I don't yet know what help looks like. So I'm going to try and find out what help looks like, and then I'm going to be helpful. And I don't mind what the outcome is. I'm just going to be helpful because I know that I've got experience and insights to be helpful. Let me go help. That's the gig, right? Is show up and be helpful. But if you know what help looks like, be helpful. That's what you're putting out in your content. And if you don't know what help looks like, stay in the conversation long enough to find out what help looks like, then give help and let it help. Like that's it. And when we are realizing right now is that we have a lot of people who, whether they like it or not, their life is in order. And then they would like to get to new order. They've got somewhere they'd like to be. Like their life is in order, but they don't like it and they'd like to get to new order. You cannot get from order to new order without going through chaos. Mm. And what you're demonstrating here is an ability to get in the mess with the people that you're prepared to help and help them navigate chaos so they can get to new order. Everybody else is saying, look at my new order. Isn't it shiny? Isn't it sexy? Isn't it beautiful? You're saying, maybe, let me just get in the mess with you. Yeah. And when you're trying to help people make decisions, is like average sales professionals will try and bombard people with multiple reasons why their idea is a good idea, their product is the best product, and why now is the right time. What smart sales professionals do is they spend the time to say, well, what are the one or two reasons why you should do it now and you should do it with me and you should do it with this? What people like Nicole are doing and demonstrating to you here, which is one level even past that, is they're helping people make decisions with confidence because they're giving them no good reason not to. You're spending the time there to take every reason why somebody would think, not now, not this, not with you, and helping them go, well, I'm none of those things that would mean I shouldn't. Oh, therefore I should. And that level of patience and grace and care not only is just human and kind, it also delivers obnoxious levels of conversion. And it allows you to be able to say things that when it's not right, you know why. Mm-hmm. That you get to be able to say like, good for you. Bye for now. Maybe I'll see you again someday. Because you understand that you didn't lose. They just weren't your client. You didn't lose. It just wasn't the right time for them. You didn't lose that they actually see value that is different to what you define as value. Therefore, it's okay for them to go in another direction. And that's the gift that you've just given us all there.
Yeah, I think, Nicole, you always do such a great job. Your passion comes through. And at the end, you said, well, I don't have scripts because I'm just meeting people where they're at and having conversations. And I think, Phil, that's the essence of your book and of exactly what to say is that, I got to imagine if I sat as a fly on the wall in Nicole's office, that I would hear her say similar things over and over at the right times to the right people. And really exactly what to say kind of gives you more arrows in your quiver so that you can just have those conversations naturally when you're as passionate as Nicole is.
Yeah, but we're all seeing here with everybody who stood up and been sharing from the front of the room is you can't win in this business if you don't give a damn.
Mhm.
Like there's no special magic button that like if you just do this. And with automation starting to get even more of the limelight, with AI stealing attention and market share, what it should be allowing us to be is more human. Good friend of mine, a guy by the name of Jay Bear, he was talking to this kind of industry, and people were saying like will everybody need to use AI, and will AI be the differentiator? And Jay's coming back to it is like, no, everybody will be using AI. The differentiator will be, how do you use the time that technology gives you back to be more human? And that's where I think we are in the LO space, right? Is MortgageCoach and Trust Engine give you insights and tools, and we are all looking for ways that we can automate and get greater reach. But if you don't use the time that gives you back to be able to show up to these messy moments like Nicole is talking, to create inbound awareness to a wider market that says you care more about just the loan, but you care about the industry at large, then you're likely to get left behind. And one of the reasons that people should choose you is because you're you. And if you don't show them enough of you, they don't get to be able to choose you. They get to be able to compare rates, look at features and benefits. So be more you.
I love that statement. And I love the unreasonable conversion. I love the aspect of the more freedom. I think, I don't know, Dave, if it was you that said this or somebody said this, that it was not necessarily that people using AI are going to leave behind the people not using AI, but the people that are using AI well and growing that space, becoming more human. I'm not saying the comment that was said well, but I love the idea that AI lets me automate the things that are automatable. And it allows me to sit down and have more conversations with people at my table. I'll leave this with this. We have, in my humble opinion, one of the most important critical jobs on the planet. With the discrepancies between the wealth growing wealthier, with the wealth effect that's happening in the equities market and the cryptocurrency market, and the gain even in real estate, versus those that do not have. When I see those charts about the net wealth and how much that the top 10% are spending 50% of the consumer spending and all the numbers that I can rattle out, that breaks my heart deeply and personally. And I know that we hold the keys to the very thing that can change that story. And we have to show up in that. And we have to show up meeting people where they're at, because they're so scared right now. And if we just go out quoting rates and talking loan programs and jumping on the phone, then we're not doing justice to the very industry that we serve every single day. AI can't do the shit I do. It cannot. It can free up more time for me to truly do what I do and serve more people.
So here is action and almost a what to do as a result of everything we've just learned here from Nicole. And for those of you that are with us live, those of you that are catching on this playback, there is one particular conversation that I believe that every professional LO should be getting hyper-focused on right now. And you've all been on training courses where you were being asked to produce an elevator pitch in the past, right? Maybe you sat there for hours crafting your perfect elevator pitch. Maybe you role played your perfect elevator pitch back and forth with each other about all the reasons about why you're so awesome. And you were proud of your elevator pitch in the training room. How often did you deliver that elevator pitch with purpose and results after leaving that training room? My guess is not very often. And maybe that's because some of you don't travel in elevators too often. But I think more often than not, it's because it's a bad idea. What we all need to develop today that is a remarkably valuable conversation or series of conversations is what I would call elevator rants. These are your permission to get frustrated and mad about things, similar to how Nicole has just shown us how she is in scenarios here, and bring it to the world. You could be at a happy hour this evening, And instead of saying, I'm a mortgage professional that's been in the business for 25 years who has access to blah, blah, forget all that. You could say, well, one of the things that drives me crazy right now is there are just so many people that are renewing a lease into another rental because they're believing the nonsense that they're reading on TikTok right now. And the result of which is they're signing up to stay in another piece of property that is costing them long-term equitable position. And they're just not aware of what the truth is in a market like this. And it's going to result in a lot of our young people not getting to be able to benefit from growing wealth in real estate. It's driving me insane right now. You see, if you get mad at things, you can bring it to social environments. You could be there at a dinner with friends on Sunday and you'd be like, you know, something that's just driving me crazy right now is there are hundreds and hundreds of people here locally that are living in a house that they really don't like, that is not fit for purpose, because they think that they can't move until they sell it, and there's nothing that is inventory, and they have no understanding or awareness just how many different solutions that exist in 2025 that would allow them to live their next years out in a touch more comfort. If only more people just knew what options were available for them. You see how if we develop these frustrated rants, these are our social tools to create a curiosity gap where they say, Nicole, what do you mean? And you're like, well, being as you've asked. Like from there, you're good to go. So my encouragement to everybody is to take all the passion and frustration you have about other people's behavior, about nonsense in content that other people are producing, and make your voice louder to catch people earlier in the conversation so they start coming to you for help. And every one of you here can probably write 3, 5, 7, 9 really useful elevator rants that is you frustrated about something that is a mistruth inside of either your local market, economy as it is right now, people's positioning, that has people coming to you saying, like, what do you mean? And from there, your advice becomes more valuable.
This
Always
is
so well said, Phil.
so well said. We are coming in to the. It's not. We have more than 2 minutes. We're going to give Deborah Bird her full time because she's so important. What you've heard is a lot of phrases, words, questions, strategies, exactly what to say in one-on-one conversations. And guys, I say it all the time. If you're going to win the future, yes, you need to find loans. Yes, you need to win loans. But you know who's going to gain the most market share? Are the mortgage advisors who can create loans because of the way that they're using data, that they know exactly what to say to open that person's mind, take them from confusion to clarity. And it's not like AI is just like a clarity machine. I mean, it's a tool to provide information, to synthesize information. But when it comes to the biggest decision you'll make in your life for most Americans, should I buy now? Should I wait? Should I keep renting? Should I buy a home? Should I move up and sell this home? Should I rent out this home and move up? It's never been more important that you're an advisor and you're a mortgage coach and you know exactly what to say. So I'm going to have Todd's going to do the full introduction for Deborah Bird, but I just wanted to say, because I think she's so important. She understands how to be a mortgage coach. Heck, she was a mortgage coach. She's been to Sales Mastery every year. She's been not just through exactly what to say, she has become an instructor and taught hundreds, going on thousands of mortgage professionals how to say it. And by the way, how to do it one to many, because you can't control what's on the news, but you know what you can control? What's communicated to your database. You know what you can control? What you put on social media, what posts you share. So I think it's perfect having Deborah as the anchor to close out with some one-to-many. Todd, I know you have some things you want to say before we let Deborah rock it out.
Well, I mean, you did an amazing pitch. I don't want to tease it too much, but I think Jeremy's going to jump on for a few minutes after Deborah. So stay tuned after Deborah for that. But I think you nailed it, Dave, right? I think the challenge that loan officers have right now is how do you generate more business? And we've got this opportunity out there called social media. And I don't think there's anyone better at it in our industry, because that's all she focuses on is our industry, than Deborah and her team over at Plug and Play SM. And, Deborah, you and I were talking yesterday. It seems to me the challenge that loan officers are having right now is knowing what to say, which is what you're going to talk about in a minute and what you and I talk about in the certifications, et cetera. But really, then it's also the consistency to actually get it posted once they figure it out.
Preach. Yes, the consistency is the biggest challenge, I think, with any aspect of prospecting or business development. And that would be my first question to everybody who's listening or tuning in right now is, how much time are you spending each day or week on business development type activities, on sales and marketing activities? Because what you just said, Todd, people want more business, they want more leads. What I have found is we're not even taking care of the leads that we have. We're not optimizing the ones that we're already talking to. And so I just want to start with like the big asterisk of the single best ROI is from an exceptional client experience, to the point where if the future of your marketing department, guys, were your clients and partners raving about their time with you, that they're creating your content and tagging you, and then you're borrowing other people's audiences. You're leveraging trust, not from you selling you, but from enough street cred and other people raving about you. Because ultimately, when we get on social media, like nobody's like, I can't wait to see a mortgage ad. Like you have to remember, this is almost the equivalent to like being at a networking event and you're in the middle of having a conversation with someone, and then immediately someone comes in and interrupts and just starts, speaking, and then they leave. That's kind of like how social is. We spend a lot of time scrolling, and we're able to meet people where they're at much sooner in the buying cycle. But I still see a lot of these like broadcast of just show up and throw up and spray and pray. And it's like, no, this is not a spray and pray. Like, this is social media. It's meant to be social. So instead of how many likes am I getting, how many new followers do I have, I want you to flip the script and almost unmarket your thinking of how many new conversations can you proactively start? How many new follows are you proactively creating each day? And a lot of times I have clients ask, well, who do we follow? Great question. Let's start with your clients. In fact, if we just embed a script that before you ever hang up the phone with any new client or partner, so if you're calling for your Tuesday status updates, hopefully everyone has the Win by Noon planner and you're executing the ideal week, then you should be making your status update calls. Now, a lot of my clients have now fallen back on automation where they let their CRM automate these updates. And guys, the Tuesday update is not about the update. It's about the conversation and deepening the relationship. But oh, by the way, before you hang up, let's say it's a first-time home buyer or it is a new agent partner, you always then ask, hey, just out of curiosity, which social platform do you tend to favor? Like what's your, pick your poison, so to speak. Where do you like to consume? And then they tell you, and then you're going to kind of have this curious tone. You're going to be like, okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to send you a follow request. In fact, go ahead and check for me. Did you receive? Okay. And give it some time. And you're like looking at your phone in case this is on Zoom, and they're going to then follow what you're doing. And sometimes you just have to be proactive and start marketing on offense and inviting the relationships by initiation, instead of just waiting and hoping that each post is just going to magically land on your ideal clients or audience's feed, and that then they're going to feel confident and secure enough to just go ahead and follow and like. I don't know why we don't flip the script and just be proactive, so that when we are creating content and when we are engaging with our followers or our community, it's through intention. So I don't want it to be just about attention. I want us to move in this place of intention. Because look, anyone can post a half-naked pic, all right, and get attention. Is that the right attention? And when we focus on virality or these vanity metrics, we lose sight on the bigger kind of strategy of creating easy conversations. And I think, Phil, you said this in our certification. It's not about like shooting your shot. Like, this is not the 3-point buzzer shot. This is just getting the ball in play. And some of you, especially when I say DMs, I think you guys think of like the old perception of like maybe a male reproductive part that's going to somehow show up in your DMs, which does happen. But it's more about what's an easy way to start conversations and to start building relationships. And are you creating story posts that ties in the Dallas Cowboys and how we didn't lose last week, we didn't win, but is there a way to make it playful, make it a story post that creates the easy engagement? Because people also, depending on their mindset when they're on social, so it's still an escape activity. Like some could just be killing time because they're at a sales meeting and they're bored, or they're at a red light. And so the new habit I want you all to adopt is every time you go to pick up your phone, to give yourself permission to scroll, think of it as the entry ticket is now, who have you engaged with, and have you created something that invites a conversation? Okay, before you just post and produce, before you just are a consumer and let social media own you, I want you to flip it and you own it by being intentional with who you're creating content for and what they care about. So I have created a document that, Dave, I think would probably be easier to just share maybe after or maybe in the show notes here, but I was making this around refinances. And what I kind of flipped through as we were like halfway through the show is, in fact, let me pull it up. Can I share my screen? Yes, no, maybe
Go
so.
for it.
Okay.
Give it a shot.
Let's see if this will work. I just want to show y'all what it is. And then if you guys have questions after the fact, maybe we can do a little brain depth afterwards. But it was meant to target the who was refinance opportunities. Now, initially, when we did a brainstorming call, the first red flag to me is like, well, most loan officers are only creating content for those who want to buy now. They're focused on like the next 30, 60, 90 days. And to me, what happens if you just got your client to follow you because of the script I just gave you, and they just closed last week? What are you doing to give people a reason to follow? So WTF instead of where to focus, or it's going to be why to follow. Why should they care? What are you posting that is either community driven, where you're the hyper local, like most connected person? And an easy example for the last quarter of this year are holidays, pumpkin patches in the area. Like, where are the hot spots that families go to take photos? I know it may not be about mortgage, but you guys serve families and how their lives changes over, like there's different seasons. And so how are you creating content and connections beyond just mortgage that makes people want to even follow you or interact with you? Like, give them a reason. You have to earn that. So if you're going to
show here, Deb, right? Like that's what I'm hearing here loud is like show us something worth watching. Show us where you're at. Show us what makes you different. Don't tell us or talk to us.
Yeah. And I would, as part of my like perfect repeatable month, it's interviewing your clients. Like it's part of your script and your process that 2 weeks post closing, it's hashtag life in between moments. And you make them the hero of their home story. And instead of you assuming and speaking on behalf of like, because that's what some people are thinking when they see your like Canva graphic of 5-star testimonial. I'm like, but is Phil a real person? Or is this real? Or is this just what someone, made on a graphic? And then everyone has like guru or specialist, or my favorite is every time I ask clients, why you? They say, we help people build wealth through real estate. And I'm like, cool. Somebody said that on this channel a couple years ago, and now everyone just regurgitates that line. And so is it really a unique value proposition at that point? So we have to flip it. Go ahead.
Yeah, what do you think about like even what I shared with Nicole a second ago about this sort of elevator rant type piece? Like what do you think about like people just jumping to their stories today on something like Insta and flipping the camera around and taking their elevator rant to even using the practicality of today is like I've been in a training course today, and it's so right that there are so many young people right now that are thinking their only option is renting is because they don't know. And I realized that they like hold your hands up and apologize for maybe not making stuff real. And we're living in a world right now that there's so much artificial. Like, you're watching videos on YouTube and you're like, okay, ChatGPT wrote your script. You're reading it from a teleprompter. Love your green screen. Good for you. So the level of authenticity that is existing in most messaging, like if you can show up and be somewhat real and ugly with something that has heart in it inside your social, the connection point is off the chain.
As long as it's not performative, because
Yeah.
nothing gives me the ick more when I hear people, and there's coaches that help with this, thank God not you, but it's like they construct, and it's all for marketing, and it's like,
Yep.
but it's not real. And so it just, to me, and you have told me this before, it's like, which version of Deb do you guys want? Like, we're now getting towards the end of the workday, and let me tell you, I'm halfway. This is how much is left of my sprees, guys. So like the crazy part starts to come out. And there's
Yeah.
days where I have bad days. And I do think, and Chris Do talks about this a lot, is you have to be the youest you can be. And that's what makes this hard. And this is the ugly truth behind what is really the excuse that often holds people back, is they'll say, I don't have the time, or I don't know what to say. And I'm like, or it's just you haven't learned how to love and accept you and be okay with who you are, to then share your gift of your prior self. Like, what did you need to learn? And that's what the community stories are all about when you're interviewing your clients, is like, what did they need to hear? Maybe not from you, because they do look at you as a salesperson.
Yeah.
So on the artificial intelligence, like, I think everyone is skeptical. Everyone's like, So I would even make that a series of like, here's the Chat GPT response I received that is incorrect or does not follow this guideline or would not be the full strategy behind this program. You know, like, here's what maybe they're missing, right? Like, again, it has to be the most human, which also means flawed,
Yeah.
and being okay with that. Like,
I'm
it's
thinking a lot on this right now, and my head goes here on the social. I'd love to get your view on it, Deb. Is one is listen, like, who are the top 100, 200, depending upon the side of your business, that you're going to actively listen to. You're going to follow their posts. You're going to heart their content. You're going to show up in their DMs on occasion, that you're listening and you're joining their conversation. Like, that's one play. And then another play that you're going to do is you're going to go looking for proof. Where in your past book of clients do you have that you've got like the ability to get case studies and interviews, and more than just a Google review, that you're using their truth to be able to show others that these are the kind of people that you've helped. And then after listing and proof, then you're going to pick real people. So you're going to decide that your content is, you're all about first-time buyers, or you're all about condos, or you're all about families stuck in 2.5% interest rates that are desperate to move, but think that they can't. Like, you're going to pick a group of people that you're creating for, like unknowns. These are unknown hypothetical people. So remember, like, these are known, these are known, these are unknown. And then the only other thing you're going to do is document. Is you're going to take like what's happening inside your real world, and you're going to say, well, how do I become a documentarian of that says, if I just gave a great lesson to a client on the phone, how do I turn that into something? And I love even your pumpkin patch thing is some of us are going to go to a pumpkin patch and we're going to take 0 photographs, and we're going to have maybe a reasonable time, and we miss the moment of being able to say, I've lived in this neighborhood for 17 years and I didn't even know this place was here. So my guess is that some of you out here did no idea that this was here too. And I know that you expect me to share with you mortgage advice and information, but I need to tell you, like, the hot apple cider here is the greatest I've tasted today. Like, if you're craving pumpkins, you're craving all things pumpkin spice, then come here. And if you can get here in the next 30 minutes, we might be able to high five and say hi. Like that's real.
Yeah. And because it's the lifestyle, like, there's some people who are relocating, and we're all drawn to the community, and you guys literally build communities one family and loan at a time. But there's not, the only thing I would add to that stack that you just gave is, how do you create the repeatable month where you're always able to tee up the next thing? So I believe, and part of what we do for clients is, every single month we do it the first Wednesday, it's a realtor mastermind, where it can be top of funnel, middle of funnel, but you extend the invite, and we do it the first Wednesday of every month, because usually the first week is better than the last week of the month, and you've got to make it easy for agents to remember. Like, when is
Yeah.
it? They don't care who's speaking or what it's about. They can remember the first Wednesday of the month.
And you're
So
building a habit from it, right? Like that's just what they do. They show
and
up.
then and when as soon as they RSVP the first time, guess what? It already automatically RSVPs them for every month thereafter. And sometimes we don't know what we're talking about because we'll always let the market drive the content. But this month we did how to reactivate your ghosted buyers, because it's very timely with the seasons. So one is your agents. Okay, you've got to have top of funnel. It helps when you're doing your outbound prospecting. Helps with DMing, like, hey, I'm not sure if this is for you, but I'm hosting this class. There's so many things you can do with that. The next one is the fun community event. So for this month, we did Witches Walk for Breast Cancer, because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I figured the trunk and treats, like, I don't want to compete with all that because there's a lot of people who do that. But why not honor those in our community and those that we've served who overcame breast cancer, or maybe they lost a loved one from breast cancer? And you could even partner with a facility. What is that mammogram? Soulless. As I just did this, it's probably so inappropriate, but whatever that place is where you go, I just had to get my first mammogram last year. Go get y'all's mammograms, guys. It's October. Anyways, that's the community one, which again is rinse and repeat. It allows you to invite your database, tell them to invite their friends. You always make it fun. Doesn't always have to cost a whole lot of money with a venue. And then the third repeatable thing every single month is a client educational event, because this now proves that we help people build wealth through real estate, because that's easy to say, which gets the conversion. Yet this is why you guys then have call reluctance after the sale, because you didn't actually do what you said you were going to do. So you have people that come, and you have a divorce attorney who's your, guest speaker, where again, they're the hero. You just leverage her audience, your audience, make the graphic, like they feel like they're being interviewed for TV. So they're going to send it to all their friends and family as the attorney. And you just talk about, like, it could be something as simple as how to get around a geographic restriction when in your divorce decree it says you can't move, but maybe you just got a job promotion. Like, what are the things that an attorney can speak about, like when you're co-buying a home with a partner and not married? Like, what's your exit strategy, ladies, if you're in a community property state? Or you get a will and estate attorney. Like, you just make these perfect repeatable months that if you had those three things, then you have a blast email you can easily send. You have text, you have video messages, you are getting face to face, which I do think is extremely important. That, like, I guarantee most people on this call right now, you may have scrolled on social media at some point today or yesterday, and there was probably a post you even liked. But can you even tell me the person's name? Because we consume at like 50 minutes at a time. And so it's not just about showing up consistently, it's being memorable, not for the sake of being memorable, but like the generic Canva templates, cookie cutter, not helpful, AI generated. Like, some of you could be losing more trust than you realize. But
so the easiest content, Deb, to create is just listen to the questions people have asked you more than twice, and then just answer it in the public. And I'm trying to show an example of this right now. Is that, Ryan's asking, how do I go about like doing this funky stuff that I do that is
on your device,
jumping to iPad, or like I'll bring like the role play cards into a conversation and I'll work through those. And I've been asked that question more than a handful of times. So what do? Is you produce a video and you answer the question. Now, anytime someone like Ryan says, what device is Phil using to write on the screen while he's talking? Very cool. Would love to use this. Todd gives a lazy answer that says he's using an iPad connected to his computer as an alternative screen, which is the answer. But Ryan looks at that and says, that's not very helpful.
right?
Not very helpful. But what is more helpful, and I think this is a massive opportunity for anybody in the loan originator space right now, is to create a video and put it on YouTube, so that every time that you get asked a question, you can give an answer to it that's evergreen, and that's working out there for you, and it's prospecting on repeat. And that's what Nicole does so well, and many others here do so well, is that they're driving change in by answering the questions on repeat. And that's your LinkedIn. It blows my mind how many LOs don't use LinkedIn to be able to answer common misconception questions, or like We get
Or
good at
worse, when they're all
TikTok dance, and
all the social platforms have a different title. Some may have an old employer banner that's not even compliant. Like, so for AI to be able to refer you guys, because we do see people going more and more to Chat GPT. And I will say, you can trust that chat's not telling you an answer for their best interest, because they don't earn a commission. You know, these are the silent things that like don't always show up in data, which I love when people are like, oh, you know, there's a financial literacy crisis. Is there? We've never had access to more information ever in the history of time than right now. So is it really that, or is it just fear of making the wrong decision? Now being able to access ROI, like, should I do crypto? Should I do this investment account? Like, you know, so it's just getting really real that sometimes data doesn't always tell the full story. And we need to turn up our EQ and do exactly what you just, and it's not just even the questions you're being asked, like, guys, use social prospecting time to see what are people commenting on your competitors. Go to Reddit. Reddit is also a phenomenal place, which we should all be engaging on, especially if you want AI to refer to you. You've got to be on Reddit and just see. I created multiple posts just last week from our interview with Jeremy. In fact, I need to give them to you, Jeremy, so you can use them. They're plug and play of like the exact refinance templates that he talked about, of like the 2-1 buy down refi opportunity people. But it always starts with curiosity. It also has empathy. And then we're always thinking the prove it, from even the book that you wrote that we read, and that's part of our content pillars, is prove to me you are who you say you are, and you'll do what you say you'll do. Because talk is cheap and everyone's a guru and everyone can say they do this, but I'm not buying it. I want to see it. And better yet, if your clients are saying it about you, then I will believe it even more than just this little Canva template that you posted. But we've got to tell more stories. And every single loan app is a story. I'm buying a home because ... Fill in the blanks. Why are they buying? Especially now. Like, what on earth would cause them to want to buy right now? As we go into the holidays, it's not like rates are super low. Like, what must be going on in their world? Oh, that happens to be memorable. So going back to like facts, you don't usually remember, but stories. Tell me this story. And then also do your like deal of the week. Like, how did you 911 a deal? That's attractive to your partners. They want to know, how can you make them look good and how can you increase their conversion? They don't need another lender spamming their DMs, over promising stuff that they're not going to deliver on. So prove it. What are the deals that you're saving? Like, tell them as stories. But it should start, there's a format to, like, even Jeremy, just to pick on you a little bit, I was looking at your content and I'm like, oh, the most important part is the hook, and it's not even on the cover page of his grid. So when someone lands on your profile, they're not going to take the time to be like, I wonder what this video is about. I wonder what this video is about. I wonder, like, you've got to give them some context of what it's about to determine if it's worthy of my time to then even watch it. Otherwise, we spend so much time on the script and we completely forget about, like, the hook is the afterthought when that's 90% of the success.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm going to give some random comments here that I think would be useful for this industry in realizing what we should also be creating content for that many of us miss. Lots of us are creating a ton of top of funnel content. Like, how do I get famous? How do I win likes and views and comments, etc. Perhaps the most important race for most LOs to win is the final mile race. Like, you're in competition with 2, 3, 4 other people, when people are looking for a body of evidence that is like, why Jeremy over Justin? Why Ryan over Nicole, etc. Like, this is good person versus good person sometimes, and building that body of evidence is your strong differentiator. And I shared real quick, like the creation of videos on YouTube. Like, this is a video that answers the, what's my tech setup, but I'm going to show you something that I wouldn't normally show LOs, that is simply from the speaking business. And the speaking business is very similar to the LO business. We have to win in the final mile. Look at the images in my website here, right? Does this say he's done it before? He's done it recently. He's done it for someone like you. It's a quantity of a body of evidence. It's not the one hero shot. Look what the logos are saying. They're saying that there is a breadth of different industries. There are deliberately not real estate logos here and mortgage logos. Why? Because I don't need more real estate or mortgage business. In fact, I have to overcome an objection sometimes where people are like, do you work in other industries? Because you folks are so freaking visible that what you do is that you like challenge the other side of my business. But look at this, and we don't show testimonials. We capture screen grabs from people that say nice things. If you follow Deb's advice and that you start relationships with your prospects on social, there's a strong possibility that you'll get outward expression thank you posts that were shared in stories on things like Instagram that then disappear 24 hours later. If I was looking at LO's website that had a ticker tape of dozens of real people that had shared real expressions of real ways that you'd help them, what would that do in a 50-50 gateway of you versus someone else? What would that do if you were, a 0.25 difference on a rate, but everything else was looking awesome with you? Could that be the kicker? So the challenge I'd give over the months that are coming is how do you do a better job collecting the evidence of your awesomeness? Because you can communicate your awesomeness, but if you've got like something that is a show as well as the tell, and you keep capturing that evidence, particularly if you want to be in this business for more than a minute, then all of those 50-50 races are the easiest ones to win. And it starts on doing what Deb says. And then it also then is amplified by saying, if you capture it, if you collect it, if you take those online moments and turn them into offline evergreen assets, you get an appreciating value from them too.
100%. Jeremy, you do a great job. I feel like I was just hard on you a little bit, but you come across very human.
You are not
relatable.
hard on me.
You
That
are
is
who you
hilarious.
are. You're very lovable. It's attractive. Could it repel people? Yes, but I used to be told you should be more like this, especially when I was an extension of the nerd brand. And I'm like, but I like to color outside the lines a little bit. I do like to wear loud colors, and sometimes I cuss a little bit. So you're doing it right when you're repelling the right people and attracting the right people. And I think we've got to really focus on community and going deep, not an audience of like empty followers, like empty calories. Like the days of the width doesn't matter, guys. Depth, okay? It's all about go deep. It's not always wide.
Well,
Okay,
I so
we're
appreciate your
end.
feedback. I appreciate your feedback. I'm serious because I don't even know what that thing was that you said that I need to do. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what I'm doing with social media. So
hey, it's gotten a lot. Your editing is great. It's gotten a lot better. There's just small little tweaks that we can make to improve.
That's absolutely incredible. I so appreciate it. Well, listen, I wanted to hop on here and just say thank you to everyone. And it was really interesting because I have, a list of 50 scripts that I created. I'm happy to share with them. And while I was listening to Phil and everyone, I was like, I wonder if I put all my scripts and say, can you like redo this in the context of Phil M. Jones, exactly what to say, like what they would look like. And they were really similar and powerful. But this is the thing I don't want any of you to miss that was discussed that hit me like right between the eyes. Number one is that like scripts don't, like people say scripts don't work or these scripts don't work for me. It's not because the scripts are bad. It's they fail because they're not yours, right? They're not your voice. The reason why Phil's magic words work so well is because you create the script and then it's just the magic words in it at the end or the beginning, etc. You have to create it like yourself from your own words. That's why regurgitation doesn't work the same way that Deb said it. Like, so it's like scripts aren't meant to be copied. Like they're literally meant to be customized. So like if that's any takeaway from this, none of my scripts will work for any of you if you don't make them in your own voice using the way that you already talk, like stuff like that. So just think about that when you
Think of it like
take
a
all
recipe book, Jeremy. Like how many recipe books have you bought through the years that you've then followed the recipe exactly as it was written in the recipe book, and then you've looked at the meal that you created and it's nothing like what the photograph is in the recipe book. And Deb, if you're wondering what a recipe book or cooking is, it's the same as when you buy like a microwave meal and you see the picture on the front of the dish, and then
It's
you
called
pull it out of the
reservations
plastic
or
tray.
Uber Eats.
Oh, okay. But it still looks different to the menu, right? Still looks different
Yes.
to the menu item of what it is. It's we can give you a pantry of ingredients. You got to learn to be a great chef, and that takes skill.
Yep. Yeah. So I just appreciate all the feedback. Thanks for everyone so much for sharing. Totally awesome. Happy to give everyone a copy of those scripts. I sent a link in there. I'll post it again. Just go ahead and click on it and I'll send them to you. But thank you guys so much for taking the time today and making me better. I really appreciate it.
Well, and congratulations on launching your new coaching platform. Get all the links down below. If you're watching this and you're still tuned in on YouTube, there'll be one link, and within those links, you have links to everything. Don Gottlieb just shared another link to Sales Mastery. Myself, Jeremy, Todd, Deborah, a bunch of us are going to be at that event in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you forgot to have me on stage on that for Dave as part of your.
Give Don a hard time.
I will.
Yeah, and everybody I have on my part is an actual producing loan officer that is winning in this market and winning in a way that is future proof. So before you go, make sure you follow Uncommon LO. If you're not a mortgage coach, become a mortgage coach. If you're not winning by noon, like winbynoon.com is one of the amazing sponsors of this event. The planner that you can get at winbynoon.com is the staple and the playbook of many of America's best loan officers. A number of top coaching programs use the Win by Noon planner and have private labeled versions. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say who all those coaching platforms are, but what Todd does, what Win by Noon is amazing. Deborah Bird, if you are not following her on all channels, follow her. If you are looking for someone to coach you, mentor you, or even manage your social media platform, plug and play sm.com. Make sure you're following Deborah. Phil M. Jones. I mean, again, guys, a lot of free value. And then if you want to go deeper on a lot of things, you could go deeper. Phil Jones, before Todd closes it out, Win by Noon style, anything you want to say?
I just say keep this an open conversation, right? Is success is not a straight line. This is messy. Choosing to be pro means that you are never finished. There's always more to be able to work on. If there are questions that I can answer for you, you want to learn more about how we can support you on your journey more, then holler at me at Instagram. Like, it is a high payoff activity for me to watch my own inbox there. And I know lots of people don't. Like, I'm in that place. Why? Because me and the DMs in my business, speaking to real people, drives real results. And it blows my mind that people ignore that like it is some form of cheap inbox. I'll make like 7 figures a year from DMs. I did have some folks as well that were asking questions like about like this sexy hoodie here as well. Like, if you love all things exactly what to say, is grab yourself one of these hoodies, but we don't sell them. You get to like scan this QR code, and what will happen is you can kind of become an ambassador of all things EWTS. What it means is you buy like 20 books and you get a hoodie. And for LOs, this is like a no-brainer, because 20 books is 20 conversations with real estate agents. It's a chance for you to be able to start to open some doors. And if there's anything that we've done here that was being valuable to you in this time or any other times, that's the simplest way you can say thank you, is grab yourself some books, carry the exactly what to say message further forward, and maybe wear it with pride, particularly being as we're stepping into fall. And the thing I love best about this hoodie is this like I'm not a tattoo guy, but this is the closest I get to it. It's like on my sleeve. It's the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment you're saying it. And we committed some details, and these hoodies at wholesale to me were $100 a piece, and I had to buy 600 of them to get to that. So yeah, we made a real product. So grab a hoodie, grab some books, say thank you.
Hey, can you throw up that QR code again, Phil? People are asking, and then we'll send us the link to it, Phil, and we'll put it in the follow-up email. Yeah. So everybody
in this call as well, like an actual QR code on a piece of paper as opposed to like a digital QR code. Look how old school we are.
You guys do right, Phil. That's so we will be sending out a follow-up email to everyone who registered for the event with all the links we talked about, and access to the recording, which will be up on the Mortgage Coach and the Win by Noon YouTube channels. And there's just lots of opportunity, right, to grow. I mean, Phil just said it. If you're going to be a professional, you got to continue to grow. And as always, we committed to make it less than 3 hours this year. So we did. We're going to succeed, I think, unless I go 7 minutes in my close. The good thing is we didn't go 3.5 hours, but I feel like there was a ton of value here for everyone. I think everyone who showed up here got something to take away from today. And I think that we had some great opportunities to learn. And whether it's, getting social media help from Deb, whether it's buying the 20 books to get the cool hoodie from Phil, whether it's making sure you got a Mortgage Coach subscription if you haven't had one yet, joining Deborah and I in virtual land for our first virtual Exactly What to Say certification, jumping in with Jeremy for his new coaching company and his mastermind. I mean, there's just so many great opportunities that come out of a day like this. But the bottom line is you guys all made it what it was because you showed up, whether you showed up here live or you're watching this on the recording. Friday on the Mortgage Coach Friday Mastermind, Dave and myself, we're going to be breaking this down. So we're going to be going back through, we're going to be sharing our highlights and kind of digging a little bit deeper on the questions because there was a lot of questions here in the chat that didn't get answered. So we will go through those and bring those to our call on Friday. So it's a great opportunity for you. We would love to have you there. Tell us what you thought. Tell us what your favorites were so that we could grow. But, as always, you can't just digest this once. You've really got to go back and rewatch this again. It's unfortunately not one you can watch on double speed. So you got to commit your time to make sure that you're, really paying attention. But our hope for you is that by investing your time with us, that you're going to take some action as a result, right? It's great if you showed up here and you were a watcher, but if you don't actually do something with what you heard today, if you're not using some of the magic words and phrases that you heard people do, then you're just not going to get what you deserve to get out of this. This business is the world's best business. We're so grateful that we're part of it, you're part of it, and wrap it up, Dave. Take us from here.
So guys, this will be on YouTube by the end of the day. We appreciate everyone's participation in this community. This community does not exist without people that watch our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, connect with all the amazing speakers and leaders we have. So super grateful. It was a lot of fun today. And this is a wrap. Take care, everybody. See you on Friday for the debrief.